The story begins with a purple butterfly flying over her leg. There is a dark stocking on her leg. A girl with a sumptuous bust leaned forward and rested on her outstretched arms. Two girls with an excited blush on their cheeks look at the hero. The girl in green clothes, Zhao Teui, is a member of the Jade Clan, and the girl in purple clothes is Lu Shunan. A man in dark clothes and a smile on his face tells them not to hurry, because everyone has things to do. The man's name is Jang Lan, and he is the gatekeeper. Suddenly, the stone wall shatters with an explosion, revealing another girl. Everyone in the room is dumbfounded by her appearance. She screams that this is an outrage. The girl is very displeased. She is the Empress of the Jade Clan. She asks the man how he dared to take advantage of her absence. The man breaks out into a smile. He replies that now she is here and they will all be together. The man finds himself in the arms of girls in green and purple robes and happily tells them to ask the Empress to try out the weapon. The Empress finds herself pinned belly down, her right hand behind her back. She blushes and tells him to let her go, because she is the Empress. Jang Lan is indignant and says that it has become very noisy. The purple-clothed girl presses herself against his chest and tells Jang Lan to hurry up. A man wakes up. There's a knock on the door of the Jade Clan's gatekeeper's room. The knocker demands to open the door. Two girls stand at the gate of the Jade Clan, resenting why the doors are closed during the day. The girl with brown hair says that the Jade Clan is the only female clan among the 6 clans in Huangzhou, that all the female nuns here are proficient in martial arts. The girl with brown hair whispers that the Jade Clan hates men the most, and there aren't any male dogs within a 100-kilometer radius. The gate opens and the gatekeeper comes out puzzled. He asks what has happened. There is an awkward silence. The man looks at them in bewilderment. The girls run away, screaming and calling the gatekeeper a smelly man. The gatekeeper shrinks back and thinks the girls are out of their minds. The man slams the gate shut and yawns. His name is Zhang Liang. He works as the gate guardian of the Jade Clan at the foot of the mountain. It all started 3 days ago. Then the hero was taking a bath at home and suddenly felt that the bottom of the bathtub was cracking. A passage opened up in the clear sky, from which the hero fell out. Naked, and with shock on his face, he flew downward. He fell on a stone statue during the Jade Clan's ancestor worship ceremony. At that moment, he thought that he was going to be killed. The 13 swords appeared to be pointed towards Zhang Liang, dumbfounding him even more. But the Empress interceded for him. With a calm expression, she said not to kill him and to send him to guard the gate at the foot of the mountain. Zhang Liang walked into his rooms. He didn't have any skills, and so he had to lay low for a while. Zhang Liang rubs his chin and blushes as he thinks about the Empress. He thinks that she is very good. Suddenly, the hero's heart starts pounding and he feels sick. He starts to sweat. He notices that he's burning up and asks what's wrong. Some kind of golden orb unfolds and pulsates. It signals the activation of the system and the awakening of the heart. A voice from somewhere announces that the Overlord readout is complete, speaks of a god-level entry system, and speaks of activation. Zhang Liang looks around confused. He asks what kind of place this is. The voice responds that the Overlord has activated the god-level system and has now been given the task of logging into system number 1. The voice tells him that he has until midnight tonight to reach the Empress Junquanyao's bedchamber. The reward for completion is unknown, and the reward for failure is death. He hesitates in disbelief, and can't believe that he can get within 800 meters before he is already being chopped into mincemeat. Silhouette responds by telling him to shut up, as he has no right to argue. The concentrated energy hits Zhang Liang in the chest, and he starts to fall backwards. His eyes water, and he himself screams in pain. The voice says that if the hero does not complete the task, he is finished. The hero hits the floor, falling painfully from above. Zhang Liang cries and bites his lip. He says that this is bullying. We see a spectacular view of the palace at night. This is the abode of the Jade Clan outside the main palace. Zhang Liang decides that he'd rather try to complete the task, because the reward for completing the task should be something that will save his life. He moves forward. He prays to God that everything will go well. 10 minutes later, he jumps out from behind the corner of a building and presses himself against the wall. He finds himself outside the Empress's palace. He looks around, waiting for a clue. He turns to the voice, wondering if it is playing a joke on him, and asks why it is not answering him. The voice says to go to the bedchamber. To the hero, these conversations remind him of radio communication. Zhang Liang quietly opens the painted wooden doors and peeks inside. The Empress is sitting in a room surrounded by blue energy. She is meditating in a cross-legged posture with her hands on her knees, in total immersion. Zhang Liang realizes with shock that things are bad because the Empress is still awake. The hero hears the Empress's thoughts. She asks who it is that wanders outside the walls of her bedchamber and dares to break in, and that if she could not stop at the crucial moment of her plunge, she would finish him off. The hero slowly steps back, leaving the chambers. He activates the seal in front of the door with his foot. With a click, It activates and begins to glow gold. A bright beam pierces the night sky. A loud explosion sounds. The green-clothed girl notices that this sound was in the direction of the palace. The Empress opens her eyes. She asks what happened. The Empress stares at the golden beam at the bottom of the stairs in incomprehension. Jang Lan shouts into the beam, bending his knees. A voice congratulates him on completing the task. The voice rewards an impenetrable heart and a pair of speed boots. The hero is bent forward and struggling to breathe. He clutched at his leg with his palm, and his body was covered in tongues of yellow energy. The Empress cleaves the air in front of her with her foot. She blushes and indignantly asks who it is. Zhang Liang drooled and blushed as he looked at her. The voice announces, "The divine body is 40% charged." Zhang Liang felt an infinite power creeping out from his body. The Empress kicks him with all her might, but the hero stops her with his forearm. The Empress is furious and bewildered, surprised that he took her mega punch with one hand. She's surprised. You can see someone's silhouette in the doorway. They are calling for their mistress. Zhang Liang is paler and looks back. Zhang bounces off the walls and punches through the roof in an attempt to escape. The Empress shouts for him to stop. The Empress is breathing heavily and covered in sweat and marvels at her body's reaction. She thinks about the fact that this intruder interrupted her dive. It won't be long before Teui and Shunan arrive. The Empress orders that the gates be closed as quickly as possible, for the intruder cannot be allowed to leave the Jade Clan. The purple-robed girl approaches Teui and asks how she is responsible for protecting the clan. Teui replies that she made a mistake and did not expect that there would be traitors in the clan who would attack the palace at night. Shunan crosses her arms over her chest and says that she feels that this is not a clan disciple. She says it still smells like a stinky man in here. The girls are shocked. Teui turns pale and surprised. The girls unsuccessfully say they can't find the intruder, but say to keep looking for him. Jang Lan tries his best to escape. The hero sees two shadows in an alley. The girls with swords in their hands say they hear someone running and tell them to check. Zhang Liang jumps through the open window of a neighboring building. The hero finds himself on the second floor in a room filled with steam. He does not realize where he is. He sneaks down the stairs and thinks this place is good for him. Zhang Liang suddenly stops. In front of him, the girls close their eyes. Each of the girls is sitting in a tank of water. The hero presses his hands to his mouth and thinks he is in a flower garden. Zhang Liang can no longer hold back. His nose is bleeding and he is blushing red. The girl in the background opens her eyes. She covers herself with her arms, spitting back into the tank and screams. The other girls notice him too. They shout that there is a man here, asking how he got here and who he is. There are screams coming from inside the bathhouse. Zhang Liang swings open the door and runs out of the bathhouse. The bath supplies flew after him. A girl in green clothes runs with a hammer towards the clan gate. She shouts that it can only be that stinking man, and to have Zhang Lan arrested or killed if he resists. Behind the trees, a wall of dust rises into the air. One of the girls notices it and asks what it is. The voice tells the hero that the divine body with the impenetrable heart is charged at 130% and that it is dangerous. Zhang thinks his body is about to explode. Teui runs at the hero in a rage, bringing her hammer above her head. She screams at him that he is a pervert and will not escape her. The hero runs away from her. He is annoyed to think that he has been recognized. The disciples of the Black Dagger Clan appear at the gate and come to deliver a letter. They ask what's going on here. The arrival's fingers light up with magic. The chief tells them to fell him first, then throw daggers at him. 3 daggers fly at Jang Lan. He stops abruptly. He thinks it's time to run away. A vein of anger swelled on his forehead. Jang Lan attacks them with a stream of golden energy. He shouts for them to stay out of his way. Jang Lan is tied up in the main hall of the Jade Clan. Someone calls him Rebel Jang Lan. Teui asks him in a rage if he knows what crime he committed tonight. Jang Lan makes an innocent face and says he doesn't remember what happened and asks why he is here. Teui asks him why he's playing dumb. She says he pretends to be a novice, though in practice his skills are excellent. She says, pointing her finger at him, that this is at least the 6th level of practical excellence. Shunan asks if the 6th level is really the 6th level. She says it's impossible because Teui is only at the peak of practical perfection. Teui says she has witnesses and points to the 3 in head-to-toe casts. She asks if the man who serves as gate guard beat them up. One of the bandaged men replies that they don't remember. The girls ask if they were blown to smithereens. The girls say yes, otherwise the Black Dagger disciples would be worthless and maybe it wasn't them at all. Teui interrogates if they really don't remember. Jang Lan says that he seems to remember. He says he remembered that she was the one who beat them up and then blamed him. He says he had no idea she was so mean. Teui interjects in surprise. The Black Dagger Clan man says that he remembered that it was her, and 3 disciples of their Black Dagger Clan were beaten by her. They think that if it was Teuy's hand. Shunan asks the Empress who is to blame. The Empress replies that if anyone invades the clan, they deserve to die. A member of the Black Dagger Clan says that they have been ordered to pass 6 orders. They are being kicked out of the Jade Clan. They scream that she will regret it. Jang Lan says confusedly that he will go back to the gate. Lu Shulin tells him to wait because she will check on him first. Lu Shulin says that Jang Lan really doesn't have any strength, let alone practical perfection. Teui is completely perplexed. Lu Shulin says that Teui is the only one who saw everything. She asks if she saw something. Teui replies that Jang Lan really did. Teui jumps on Jang Lan from behind in a rage and wraps her arms around his neck. She yells that she will beat him until he tells the truth. Teui presses her breasts against his head. He thinks she's very strong. Jang Lan realizes that this feeling is coming back again. The voice says the divine body begins to charge. Teui starts beating Jang, squeezing his head with his thighs. The voice announces that the divine body is 70% charged. The Empress rises from her throne and stops them. She offers to talk about it later. Teui lets go of Jang and begins to mumble. Jang coughs and grabs his throat in an attempt to catch his breath. The voice says that the Lord will now receive the 2nd and 3rd assignment. Jang sees a familiar silhouette in the deity's mind. The voice announces the 2nd and 3rd task must be completed in 72 hours and must reach the peak of Mount Wanman. The penalty for failure is death. Jang asks what object the voice is referring to. He asks if it is a necklace or a bracelet. The silhouette holds out a pair of capron pantyhose to him. Jang is excited by the idea. In the Empress's palace bedchamber, Lu Shulin turns to her and tells her that Teui will definitely not lie, and there must be something wrong with Jang Lan. The Empress replies that she should go downstairs because she wants to rest a bit. The girl agrees. The Empress thinks that the strength of the Jade Clan is now declining. She recalls the heads of the other 5 clans. She thinks that although her clan is still in the top 6 clans, they are already casting their predatory glances. She shrinks from her thoughts. She recalls the day of ancestor worship. Bowing before the statue, she prayed, thinking that the disciples were infirm, so the improvement progressed very slowly. Jang Lan then fell from the sky with a scream, greatly surprising her. Now she sits on her throne and thinks that his appearance was given to them by the spirits, for this man has a special strength and body, that he has never been perfected, but can explode with fierce power. In the guard room, Jang Lan spread out the pantyhose and examines them. He whispers to himself that this is an idiotic system and this assignment is shameful. He whispers that this is utter hooliganism. He whispers, asking how he can do this as he's already going crazy. We see a hole in the wall behind him. An azure eye peers through the opening. Teui yells that he's caught and breaks down the door. Jang screams in surprise, hiding his pantyhose. Teui asks what he just held in his hand. Jang replies that it was nothing at all, sweating profusely. She rolls him to the ground and snatches his arm. She yells that she has been watching him through a hole in the wall for a long time. Jang blushes and screams. Teui frowns and looks at the pantyhose. She asks what the hell those are. Jang blushes. He stares at her breasts and replies that it's a bandage. A voice announces that the divine body is beginning to charge. The charge level is 85%. Teui hops off him, examining the pantyhose. She says that this bandage is very strange and elastic. Jang thinks it was dangerous and he almost got fully charged. Jang sweats and wonders if this charge is really building up. He decides that he needs to find a place to let off steam, or else it will happen sooner or later. Teui says this thing is very suspicious and she takes it away. She puts the black tights in her pocket. Jang starts to mumble in response. Teui tells him that he's really good at pretending and he's embarrassing her in front of the Empress. Jang hits the wall and whispers that he really doesn't know what she's talking about. She throws a cloth over him, nailing him to the wall. She says it doesn't matter because he's going to die soon. Jang begs for help from the cloth. Teui says those who hurt her won't live 3 days. Jang thinks this crazy woman is going to drag him to a deserted place and finish him off. He thinks he's a loser because first the system tries to kill him, and then this crazy woman. The voice says he has completed the old mission. Jang is puzzled. The reward is the ability to be invisible for 3 minutes. Teui throws Jang off of him. They are at the top of Wanman Mountain. Teui unwraps the cloth and tells Jang to see what the place that will be his graveyard looks like. Jang digs a hole with an unknown board and asks Sister Teui why take things seriously. He thinks she is close to the truth and asks how he should be. The charge isn't over yet and he doesn't know if he should talk to her. Teui says only death awaits him and he has only 2 choices. Either she buries him here or she shatters him. She says he also has a 3rd way to demonstrate strength and tells him to hit her. Jang tells her to turn her back to him. Teui says he's trying to trick her. She says she won't fall for the trick. Teui thinks it's really dangerous. She sees 2 monsters with guns. The monsters smash the rock she was sitting on. She manages to jump back. 3 arrows fly in her direction. Teui dodges all the arrows in an elegant move, but 1 arrow grazes her arm. She summons her hammer with magic and wonders how many warriors from other clans can sneak in here. 2 attackers are waiting for her on the ground. They draw their weapons, preparing to attack. She hits the ground with her hammer, and a powerful pulse is released from the impact. She screams that they messed with the wrong one. She shouts that those who would throw arrows at her from behind will be taken to the Empress. She holds on to her bloody sleeve. She sighs. Infection is starting to spread from the wound. She falls on her knee and wonders if those arrows were poisoned, and that the poison is too strong. Jang looks out of the pit. The head of the hostile clan with the staff says he wanted to pass unnoticed, but will kill Teui first and avenge his dead sons. Teui says who would have thought it was the ringleader and asks if they came here to steal. The thug of the hostile clan leader asks what he should do with this boy and points to Jang Lan. He replies that he is just a useless guard and should just be killed. The thug rushes at Jang. He shouts that they have misunderstood, that he is a simple woodcutter and doesn't know who the girl is. Teui hits the thug with a hammer and yells that she's their opponent. Teui yells to Jang Lan that these people are their sworn enemies and now they are sneaking in with some kind of plan. She shouts that she will detain them and he should go back and report to the Empress. The ringleader points the staff forward. She says that if he relies on Teui, she will kill her first. A bright beam flies toward Teui. She stares forward, teeth clenched. In front of Teui, the dark beam bursts with golden energy without harming the girl. The ringleader is perplexed, looking at the result of the attack. Jang says that she can only throw around words and that he can't leave Teui alone and run away, and realizes that he can't hold back any longer as his body turns divine. The system alerts that the remaining energy of the divine body is 80%. The impact only accounts for 5% of his body's energy. The ringleader yells for the thug not to stand idly by and finish him off. The thugs go on the attack. Jang enters the fray, thinking that if anything, why doesn't the ringleader come down and accomplish this task? He thinks the ringleader is afraid. Jang throws everyone off and yells for the ringleader to come to him himself. Teui turns redder and thinks she feels strange. Her heart beats faster. Jang tells the ringleader to run away while he gives her a chance. The ringleader is puzzled. Jang tells her to attack him with her strongest moves and promises not to dodge them. Teui says, has she really been told about this? Her eyes light up. The ringleader says he will do as he asked and begins to create a spell. Jang thinks he can't risk too much and uses 30% of his energy on defense. The ringleader shouts for everyone to look at the power of her clan. She sends out a bolt of lightning. A beam of energy bursts out from the staff. Teui calls out in fear to Jang Lan. Jang Lan gritted his teeth and put his hands out in front of him. The ringleader's flow of energy tears down everything in its path. After his attack, remnants of energy hovering in the air, Jang Lan stands unharmed. Jang asks if this is the ringleader's strongest move. He thinks he is invincible and the ringleader is worthless, so Jang is wasting so much energy. The ringleader says it can't be. She wonders if he really wasn't hurt and where this guy came from. Jang bounces back and fake screams. The leader is puzzled. Jang shakes and says it was a sneaky hold and he missed it. Teui asks what's wrong with him. Jang yells at Teui for them to run away. The ringleader yells for them to be caught. Jang wonders if his strength will increase with time. The thug says to look more carefully, for they are both wounded and couldn't run far. Jang whispers that he's lost his power, and Teui asks what they should do now. Jang says there's a way to get his power back and asks if she brought her black tights with her. Teui says she did and pulls them out. She asks what she should do with them, whether to use them as wound dressings. He says no. He tells her to put them on. His nose is bleeding. Teui gently and slowly put on her pantyhose. Teui asks if this is really going to work. Jang replies that there is no time to wait. Jang asks how much more time she'll need, and if he can still make jokes about her, since the fate of all humanity is now in her hands. Teui puts on her tights and thinks they are very soft and silky. She is embarrassed by how she feels. She blushes and closes her eyes and tells herself to just put them on. Teui pulled on her pantyhose and let go of the elastic band. She thinks enthusiastically that the pantyhose are very tight, see-through and tight on her ass. She remarks on what a wonderful feeling it is. The system notifies that Jang has completed the 3rd task and awards a charm capsule with a 1-hour duration and an evasion amulet that gives a 100% evasion effect against any attack for 20 minutes. Jang turns back to Teui with a smile and hesitates. Teui, with a blush on her cheek, says she seems to be wearing one. Jang is shocked at the sight of her. Jan's nose is bleeding. The system alerts him that the divine body is 105% charged and in danger. Jang runs out of the cave and thinks he is very hot and his body is about to explode. Teui thinks he's so embarrassed and quick to run away that he seems like an honorable man. Jang runs into some thugs. They say they found him and he's here. Jang smiles and shouts that it was about time the superpower came to him. He concentrates the golden energy in his hands. It releases golden energy in the form of a huge beam. The ringleader sees the beam and shouts what power, and asks if the Empress has arrived. The thug asks the ringleader what they should do. The ringleader replies that the thugs should kill them. The ringleader runs away, thinking he doesn't want to die, and so he'd better get out of there while his goons scream that it's time to call upon the evil spirits. His goons run toward the target as the golden beam envelops them. The golden beam wounds everyone. All defeatedly drop their weapons and fall. Jang slaps the ringleader on the back with a shout of, "Take that!" The ringleader yells. Teui yells for him not to kill the ringleader and leave him as a witness. Jang lifts the ringleader off the ground, asking if he is still breathing. The ringleader screams in pain. Jang asks why they came here and pulls back the enemy's collar. The ringleader gasps. Teui and Jang Lan stand over the bound ringleader. Teui says that the third and fourth sisters are guarding Linfang Gorge. She asks how the enemy clan got here, if there are others besides them, and how many clans there are in total. The leader refuses to talk. The ringleader's gaze fixes on Techui's thighs, which are covered in capron tights. Teui punches him in the nose with her fist. She asks where he's staring. The nosebleed ringleader screams that they can torture him all they want, but the rebirth of his clan can't be stopped and the other clans will come after them. He begins to glow with purple energy and screams. Jang Lan runs away and drags a screaming Teui by his arm. He realizes that this is self-destruction and screams to run away. With the help of his boots, Jang manages to escape with Teui in his arms. There is a huge explosion behind him. The smoke clears and it becomes apparent that the top of the mountain has been completely destroyed by the explosion. Teui says that the crazy guy really did self-destruct. Jang realizes that there's a hole on his boot, and the speed boots turned out to be disposable. Jang tells her to take off her pantyhose. Teui says that this is extremely obscene and that she is taking them for herself. The level of poison in her system was very low, and it only took her an hour for it to come out completely. Jang thinks she's really stubborn, also covering his mouth, wondering if she can beat him, and he hopes it's not because they're stubborn. He thinks about the other clans because Zhao Teui didn't want to tell too much, and the system, but it's incomprehensible to him and clouds his head. Silhouette asks why she was summoned. Jang asks if the system can tell him what he needs. Zhao says he needs to find out information about the other clans. The system says that the other clans are non-human races that exist in this world. There was a war, but the humans forced the alien clans out and locked them in 10 restricted zones. Jang asks what level the 100% charge of his divine body is equal to. The system says the levels go from top to bottom. Spirit, initial, impenetrable heart, tempered character, ringleader, emperor, deity, lord, immortal. The current capacity of the divine body is 1,300 units, and the strength at 100% charge is equal to the ringleader. The system says that every time he completes a task, he gets points. At the moment, Jang has 13 points, which can only be exchanged for books. Jang says he doesn't want to change points for books, and he wants a subject that will make him stronger. Jang clarifies whether any book can be bought. The system is puzzled. The charge level is 95%. Jang thinks that with this book, he can keep his divine body at a constant level. Suddenly, Jang notices something in the cream of his eye. He sees ninjas on the roof. He thinks they are good. Must be the Shunan clan. Opening the shutters, he wonders why these idiots always sneak in here in the middle of the night. The system says he's about to get his 4th assignment. Jang's talking about the Empress. The time required is 3 hours. The task is to touch the Empress. The reward for completion is unknown, and for failure is death. In the level chart, Techui's level is on impenetrable heart. The ringleader is on tempered character, Jang is on ringleader, and the levels of Empress and Lu Shunan are unknown. With a deft movement, the ninjas jump from the rooftops to the ground. Jang jumps on the rooftops. He thinks the defense is too weak, and what does Zhao Teui do? Teui admires herself in the mirror in her pantyhose. She says she is very beautiful. 2 guards stand in the square in front of the Empress's bedchamber. The ninja whizzes behind the 2 guards and smacks them in the back of the head. At the same time, Jang knocks down the guard of the bedchamber and sneaks around, thinking that the target is the Empress's palace. He knocks on the door and thinks that he, as a guard, needs to report to the Empress that someone has attacked them. After all, there is nothing wrong if he accidentally falls and touches the Empress during the report. He thinks he's a little genius because touching her doesn't count as sex. A while later, it was just time to think things over. Jang is listening. He thinks it's suspiciously quiet. He bursts in and shouts that the guard of the Jade Clan has arrived and asks who dares to enter here. The Empress is sleeping sweetly. He goes up to her and calls out to her. He thinks she doesn't look well and that she must have been poisoned or bewitched. Jang turns around. Arrows are flying toward the Empress's bed. Jang waves his hand and stops the arrows. They fall to the ground. The arrows of the alien clan turn out to be poisoned. Jang thinks the arrows are not from the Shunan clan, but alien. The Empress opens her eyes and sighs languidly. Her face is covered with sweat and blush. She vaguely sees Zhang's silhouette, who says that the alien brutes are very brave. for they dared to infiltrate the Jade Clan and make an assassination attempt on the Empress. Jang thinks that if they were from the Xuanzhan clan, he wouldn't have dared to kill them yet. But since these puppies are from another world, there is no mercy for them. The Empress stands behind him. The Empress hugs him from the back. Jang is completely shocked and embarrassed. The Empress closes her eyes and whispers if he's comfortable and for him to hug her tighter. Jang's nose is bleeding. He wonders what happened to her and why her body is so hot. He tries to push the Empress away from him. The ninjas burst into her chambers and shout that there are only 2 of them, that the Empress is really unconscious, that she must be killed, and may the evil spirits help them, for the fate of the clan is in their hands. Jang yells for the Empress to behave with dignity, because now is not the time. The Empress clings to his waist and asks why he won't. The system congratulates him and tells him he has completed the 4th task and receives a mysterious gift bag and offers to take a look. Jang drags his feet away with the Empress in his arms. He shouts back that this is not the right time. Shunan looks out the window and asks what those sounds are. A girl outside the window shouts that the Empress's bedchamber is under attack. Shunan flies to the bedchamber with the other girls and thinks she's used their Jade Clan as a vegetable market again. The girls are struck by purple magic. They scream. All the girls fall to the ground unconscious except Shunan. They land and realize that their clan has been infiltrated by outsiders who possess high-level magic, judging by the color of their aura. She understands that the purple color means the level of the Overlord, but if the Empress is healthy, it won't be difficult to deal with the attackers. Jang kicks his foot through the wall with the Empress in his arms. He says she's very promiscuous now, and she responds by telling him to hold her tighter. A discharge of purple energy hits him, but he manages to bounce away with a shriek. Jang's nose is bleeding. He notices who attacked him. The alien says that it's strange that there are men in the Jade Clan and that Jang almost interfered with their clan's affairs. Jang replies not to worry because soon he will completely hinder his clan. Jang thinks this guy is strong and not worth fighting. But the problem is that the neighborhood is still under the spell and he doesn't know what to do. Jang opens the inventory and decides that those women outside can no longer be counted on and must find another way to escape. The Lord looks at him and doesn't understand why Jang is waving, if it's some kind of spell. Jan pulls out a scroll from his inventory. He says he realized that he was the one who attacked the Jade Clan. Jang reveals a scroll over the Empress. He says that this is the same legendary translucent scroll. The Empress finds herself lying naked. Jan is surprised that the scroll is even translucent through her clothes. He's screaming for the system to get out of here. His nose is bleeding. The system says he has 3 minutes. Jan yells what kind of bullshit she keeps giving him. He yells that the artifacts in the reward are junk and asks if the system really bought this junk on street corners for Teui. The system shakes with anger and asks for respect. Jang yells that if she wants to help him, let her give him a gift to open, and he's even willing to get on his knees. The system throws him away and tells him it's useless. Jan is standing next to the Empress. A ball of purple energy flies at him. Jan grumbles that he is not being given time to open his gift. He stands in front of the ball of energy. He stops the purple ball with his hands and shouts. The system says the divine body charge has been reduced to 50%. Vladika says you can't breathe before you die. The system asks if Jan wants to use the gift now. Jan says to open it immediately. Violet energy is wrapped in a funnel of golden energy. The Lord is surprised that his Sila has been absorbed. The system congratulates the owner on obtaining an ancient mystical weapon, the Guyun sword. This sword originally belonged to the human emperor Xuanyuan. The Lord shouts that he had read about it in ancient books and sword Guyun had indeed appeared in this world. Jang asks who he called worthless and says he is completely worthy of him. He sends out a wave of golden energy and shouts that he is the protector of the Jade Clan. The Overlord displays the seal and asks if the hero is still trying to harm him, given his cultivation base. A powerful stream of golden energy strikes and demolishes the Overlord. A stream of golden energy pierces the building completely. The flow destroys the purple aura of the Overlord. The girls run and scream. Shunan shouts to find the Empress. The girls shout and run to carry out the order. The Empress is lying among the cobblestones. The girls shout at her. Shunan says she's glad the Empress is okay, and that she was really worried. She screams for the remnants of the alien race to be wiped out. The girls shout back in agreement. The Empress says she almost went crazy when she was practicing and doesn't remember exactly what happened. She asks what happened to the palace. Shunan asks if she doesn't know who defeated the alien race. The woman replies that she vaguely saw the man who saved her from the fatal blow. She wonders if it could have been him. She imagines Zhang's face. Zhang walks to his room and holds his lower back. He says that the power of this sword is too much and it feels like his body has been devastated. The next day, Shunan tells the Empress that the captives explained that she was saved by a mysterious man named Captain. They also said that Guyun, who had disappeared for thousands of years, was in his hands. The Empress asks why a Xuanyuan clan man appeared here and then disappeared without a trace. Shunan assumes it was Jang Lan and asks if he should take him to the prisoners to check. The Empress refuses and says the man in hiding has his reasons. But she is concerned about how an alien of such a high level can bypass the defense line and infiltrate the clan. Shunan replies that the Xuanjian clan disciples they chased away a while ago have come to deliver a message that the aliens guarded by the other clans have changed and may be planning some kind of big strike. The Empress says she will go to Linfang Gorge herself tomorrow because it's time for the aliens to test the power of the Jade Goddess clan again. Shunan agrees and says that he and Teui will each take 30 helpers to accompany them. The Empress says they don't need that many people and only the two of them can go with her. She says to bring Jang Lan. At this time, the wind is blowing in Linfang Gorge. In the flow of blue energy are 3 people. The girls bow their knee and greet the Empress. The green-haired 3rd disciple Ichi and the black-haired 4th disciple Chingling bowed their heads. The Empress says to find a loophole, and Ichi agrees. Jang vomits and Shunan tells him to stop. Jang put on women's clothes with imitation breasts, turns around and says he's a little seasick and apologizes. The clan disciples are unaware that a man has joined them, but the Empress has asked him to accompany her, allowed her to wear women's clothes, and changed her voice. Jang pales as he looks at Shunan and says he understood. Jang wonders why the Empress brought him here. It's not like she could have known he broke in at night. Chingling asks to be introduced to the new girl. Shunan says that she is the Empress's new apprentice and has been brought in to gain experience. The Empress calls out to Shunan and she says she's coming. Chingling turns to Jang Lan. Jan wonders why Shawneen asked for him and ran away, since he will definitely be exposed. Sinlin grabs his arm in a sharp motion. She tells Jang Lan that he is their little sister and she is his older sister Chingling. She offers to show him around since it's his first time here. Chingling pulls him along and tells him they have a good sisterhood. Jang mumbles, not knowing what to say. Linfang Gorge is their clan's defense against aliens in the middle of the Lanman Mountains, and only the middle canyon, which is no more than 100 meters wide, can be traversed. Jang asks how the power level is distributed within the alien races. Chingling replies that she's the best when it comes to alien races, and Jang asks the right person. In the alien race, the dominant one is the High Priest, the Spellmaster, and the ranks are differentiated by color from strong to weak go, red robes, yellow, white, blue, purple robes, and regular priests. Below the priests are the regular aliens, who are good at physical skills and riding beasts, but their combat power is not particularly outstanding. The desert is home to ferocious beasts. They are numerous and extreme vigilance and caution is needed with them. Jang realizes that priests have a hierarchy, and now it's no wonder that the strength of the high priest he encountered on the mountain was so different from the priest who attacked the palace. Chingling says that Jang Lan will like it here, and he asks what's inside that big tent. Chingling suggests a good bath, for the apprentice is tired from the road, and Linfang Gorge is famous for its hot springs. Jang mumbles embarrassedly that she's not tired and still has plenty of energy. Chingling undresses and invites Jang Lan to wash up while they chat. Jang Lan says he hears the Empress calling him. Chingling says no one is calling for her and rolls over onto Jang Lan's back. She leans over him and asks if he doesn't want to wash with her. Jang wonders if she has found out who he is, or if there is another reason for this behavior. Chingling asks if it hurt, but Jang really likes her older sister a lot. Jang realizes that she is a lesbian. The system gives him task number 5 to enter. In 3 days you have to make Chingling heterosexual. The reward is unknown, and the punishment is to be crushed by 5 strong men. He thinks he needs to stop her and tells his older sister to wait a minute because she has to confess one thing first. Chingling asks if Big Sister isn't pretty enough after all. Her figure is one of the best in the Jade Goddess clan. Jang closes his eyes and thinks he can't tell her that he's a man disguised as a woman. Chingling says that Jang said she wasn't interested, but as soon as he saw her body, he got a nosebleed. Jang thinks he's finished. Chingling offers to help Jang undress. He replies that he will do it himself. Sinlin is surprised and says something is wrong with his voice. Jang runs away from the bathhouse and thinks the voice-altering spell is no longer working. A cloth wraps around his neck and he falls on his back, panting. The cloth pulls him into one of the tubs upside down. Chingling is standing without clothes. She says he won't be able to sleep unless he takes a bath. Jang surfaces out of the water, inhaling. Chingling pulls him by the collar of his clothes. Jang wants her not to touch him, and Chingling says that Big Sister will help him undress. Chingling is shocked. She noticed something unusual. She holds the melon that fell out of Jang Lan's clothes in her hand. He thinks it's definitely over now. Chingling crushes the melon in her hand. She says she now understands why he refused to bathe with her. She cries in frustration, and yells that it's not Jan's fault that he has small breasts and tells him not to be embarrassed. Jang realizes that she has a knack for interesting conclusions. Kinlan hugs him and tells him that from now on, no one will be able to make fun of him because she will now protect him. Jang blushes and thinks he is at the pinnacle of life. Sinlin raises an eyebrow and notices something down below. She pulls him away from her and looks at the lower part of his body. She is furious and asks what it is. Jang builds an innocent look and says he wanted to explain it earlier. Pink magic bursts out of the roof of the bathtub. Girls in the neighborhood ask what it is. The Empress, Shunan, and Ichi turn around at the explosion. Ichi asks that it was Sinlin's energy. She might be in danger. A pink pillar of magic is visible from the gorge. Shunan says he can't sense any other magic but Chingling and asks what could have happened. Shanine realizes that the voice-altering spell has run out. She curses out loud. Jang runs from the pink magic and screams for help. Magic strikes behind him, knocking him to the ground. The girls scream that a man has infiltrated the camp. Jang rolls a cartwheel into the wall. The current charge of the divine body is 120%. Jang realizes that he cannot harm this woman. Kinlan swings his staff at him and yells for him to die. Shunan puts up a barrier and yells for Sinlin to stop. Sinlin yells that the man tricked Shannon. Shunan says she knows, but he can't be killed, and Chingling doesn't understand why. Kinla says irritably that he is a servant taken by the Empress to guard the mountain gate. Chingling is shocked. She screams that there is no place for a man in the Jade Goddess's Kana and who let him guard the mountain gate. Shonen whispers to her that the Empress has her own plans for him and to stop acting like this. Chingling says she won't kill him. Chingling yells that she will cut him a little as punishment. Jang yells that this is savage. Chingling chases after Jang, yelling for him to stop, and he begs for mercy. Shunan turns to the Empress, who says that Chingling is aware and will not harm his life, and that Jang Lan has not followed the rules and it's time to teach him a lesson. The Empress tells Ichi to show her again the distribution of the alien camps. Ichi agrees. Jang hides and looks at his inventory. He whispers that Chingling is crazy and decides how to calm her down. He screams and jumps up just in time as a volley of magic hits the wall directly below him. Sinlin yells that she hates men more than anything, and that he dare not run away from her, because he will definitely get his punishment. He yells for her to stop. He brings the capsule up to his mouth and thinks he should try it. He begins to glow from within and dazzles Chingling with the brightness. She covers herself with her hand and wonders what trick he's trying to pull. Jang becomes very attractive in her eyes and asks how things are going. Chingling doesn't understand why she feels so strange at the sight of him. Cupid's arrow in her chest. Kinlan shakes her head and orders herself to wake up from the obsession. She looks at him furiously and tells him he will pay for it. He approaches her and touches her face. He asks what price he will have to pay. She only blushes and mumbles. She closes her mouth and thinks something is wrong because she's very excited. Jang grabs her from the back and asks why she's in a hurry to leave. He asks if she doesn't dare meet his gaze. Okay bites her lip and blushes. She tells him to leave and that she can't take it anymore. Jang Lan's charm has increased by 300%, but he doesn't know what to do next. He thinks about what to do. Kiss hard, hug hard, go lower, and wishes someone would tell him what to do. His palm gently touches her side. Kinlan suddenly cries out. Jan is at a complete loss. Her body shakes with a shudder and her legs jerk up. Jan doesn't understand why she has such a strong reaction. After all, he just touched her waist. She looks down at him insulted. Sinlin licks her finger and says she'd like to see what's so good about it. She pounces on top of him, unfurls her fist and screams that he dares to provoke her and should be ready for her to squeeze the juices out of him. Jan thinks she is completely out of control and is afraid she will break his body. He doesn't understand why the assignment didn't count. Sinlin yells for him to take off his clothes and clings to the waistband of his pants. Jang thinks doomfully that he tried his best. His nose is bleeding. Suddenly silence hangs, Kinlan stiffens, and Jan doesn't realize what happened. Chingling is furious and asks what he did to her. Jan wept and wondered why the pill had stopped working just now. Chingling brings her staff over him and yells that she will chop him to pieces. Jang asks where she is swinging it and locks her knees together. A magical seal appears around her knees. 2 seals appear around her hull. He starts to fly upward, not realizing what's happening. Shunan was the one who created the seals. Chingling yells for her sister to let her go, because she has to be late for his lesson. Shunan says that he did change Sinlin's orientation. Ichi says that Kinlan was insulted and asks why she is saving this man. Shunan replies that if Kinlan changes her orientation, the female members of the clan will be able to serve in peace and not have to worry about being harassed by Kinlan. She says that Jang is very helpful. Jang always feels if he is praised. The next day, it's early morning in camp. Jan leaves the tent and stretches. He says it's a good morning. Jan notices that during the night, the energy reached 120% but was not released. And after sleeping, not only did his body not explode, but the charge dropped to 100%. Jang looks around. Behind him, a female silhouette sits on the cliff. It turns out to be Sinlin. She clutches the cobblestone in her hand, turning it into crumbs. Jan says he's going back to the tent. He thinks he mustn't fall into her hands or he'll be in trouble. A woman's hand reaches for him from behind. Shunan and she grabs him by the scruff of the neck and orders him not to move. Jang shouts in surprise. Shunan and Jang are flying on her sword. He asks where they are going. She answers that he shouldn't ask about anything he doesn't want to know about. Shunan says he doesn't know what Jang did to Chingling, but if he was able to change her orientation, that would be a huge accomplishment. Jang wonders if they want to change her orientation too. Shunan says that Chingling has a strong temperament, and if she goes on a rampage, even she won't be able to stop her. And if he finds himself in danger, he can go directly to the Empress. The Empress flies beside them. She looks ahead of her. Jan thinks that he should admit that there are many beauties in the Jade Goddess clan, but the most beautiful one is the Empress. He looks at the Empress with a blush on his cheeks. The system gives you a new task to enter. The time requirement is 1 day. The goal of the task is Empress Xuanyao must wear the JK uniform. The punishment is 10,000 arrows to the heart. Jan pales in response to the task. He gawks and starts to sweat. It's morning over the alien citadel. The rough-skinned aliens carry sacks on their shoulders, and their foreman whips them with a whip. The aliens look up into the sky, and the Empress screams that the alien bugs dared to leave the Forbidden Land without permission and disturb the peace. She screams that her Jade Goddess clan's army has gone on a campaign today, trying to avenge it. The girls of the clan begin to use their magic. Magic begins to strike the ground beneath the girls. The aliens scatter in terror. Chingling shouts with a cruel smile for the stinking men to go to hell. She attacks with her red energy. Jan looks at her and thinks this woman really scares him. Shanine says that the largest center of the alien race on the front lines has been destroyed by them, and it's definitely beyond the aliens' imagination, and they'll settle down for a while. Jan thinks that the aliens could have predicted this, that they would come here, right? Jan asks if it's possible that this place is a trap. Shanine frowns and interjects. She says that Jang Lan reminded her that the alien race attacking the clan couldn't help but expect a retaliatory strike, and had to take defensive measures, but allowed them to attack, which means something is wrong here. Chingling says that sister is too trusting and everything Jang says is a lie. Shunan says she's just being cautious, and so they'd better back off first before thinking about a long-term plan. Kinlan suddenly flies into an attack and yells that whether it's a trap or not, they'll find out after they activate it. She screams at smelly men to die and go to hell and hits them with her energy. Jang pales and thinks that this woman has a lot of personal attitude in this situation. Sinlin throws the alien at the bags in the room. She says it feels like the bags don't contain food, but sand. The alien's horn pierces the bag and sand is in it. Sinlin is furious. Shanine asks where the sandstorm could have come from. Jan turns her attention upward and says there's an even bigger problem above them. Fireballs fall on them from above. Sinlin appears from the building and says that if the food has been moved, they may be in danger. She notices a sandstorm outside. She finds herself in a sandy stream and screams, trying to bury herself with her hands. The Empress and the girls create a protective spell over them. She orders them not to retreat, to form up and hold their defenses. Shanine shouts that they had better leave the area of attack first, and the Empress replies that it's useless as they will only suffer more casualties. She asks where Jang Lan is, and Shunin notices that he's gone somewhere and hopes he's not hurt. 10% of the energy has been used for flight. Jan flies and thinks he told them to retreat a long time ago, but they decided to stay, and now he has to sort out the chaos. He notes that the aliens first used a normal-sized meteor, then used a sandstorm to limit visibility and discreetly dropped the meteor. Jan concentrates the energy in his fist and says that the one thing they didn't account for was his existence. Energy output 90%. Jan smashes the meteor into small cobblestones in midair. He hangs awkwardly in the air. He falls backwards. Zhang yells that he used all his energy on that punch. Suddenly, a woman's hands interrupt his fall. Jan notices it. The Empress holds him in her arms and asks if he was the body that destroyed the huge fire meteor. Jan is at a complete loss. He looks away and doesn't know what to say. The system turns on fast charging. Shunan goes down to the Empress and tells her that Chingling is missing and must be found, as she may have been kidnapped, and that she has just received a signal for help from the camp. The Empress replies that if they go back to the camp, they will not save Chingling. Shunan replies that he will stay and save her, and they should head back. Zhang says the aliens are well prepared, and it's wise to send someone they've only known for a short time. The Empress likes the idea. The Empress calls Jang Lan to come with her. Jan smiles. The Empress says it's hard to hide power like Zhang's from her, and he's the one who saved her in the bedchamber that night. The Empress says that he is stronger than Shunan, and she can be sure that he will save Chingling. She realizes that it was definitely him who saved her back then. Zhang falls backwards. The Empress excitedly asks what's wrong with him. Jan says his punch drained his energy and he has no strength. The Empress asks how much time he will need. Jan says he is doing special exercises and will need her help. He pulls out his school uniform and asks the Empress to put it on, and then he can recover in a second in any situation. The Empress notices that the uniform is made of an unfamiliar material and asks what kind. Jan replies that it doesn't matter and asks her to just put it on. The Empress is outraged and asks how cross-dressing can restore his powers and if he thinks she's an idiot. Jan says that he is not lying, that there is magic power hidden in the clothes, and that in time she will be convinced of his words herself. The Empress knows that all she has to do is change her clothes, and she's not risking anything. The Empress agreed to trust him and would let him know when she was done. Jan turned away and agreed. The Empress begins to undress while Jang stands with his back to her. The Empress has changed clothes and asks why the clothes are so tight and short. Jan replies that it is a property of magical clothing. She lets him turn around. Jan agrees with a wide smile. The Empress says these clothes are very strange. Jang Lan covers her groin from the resulting excitement. The 6th task is complete. Jan is surrounded by golden energy. The Empress agrees that this power is very powerful and that he was telling her the truth. There's a crazy renewal going on. A golden ray is hitting the sky. A professional crazy heart was installed. The capacity of the divine body was increased to 2,000 units. Jan says to trust him to save Chingling. At this time in the alien cave, Shinlin weighs down, suspended by his waist. Jan found her with a locator he'd bought for system points. The female locator was worth 4 points, the remaining points 16. The alien says that this woman has killed countless of his children, and he can finally get revenge. The alien says that when she wakes up, he'll let his underlings take turns raping her and then dump her in the desert to feed the wolves. The other alien says they have been given a unique opportunity and shouldn't waste it on simple revenge. The first alien is not happy with his words. His subordinate says that they are ready to carry out any plan of their lord. The Jade Goddess Temple prevented them from crossing the Gorge, but not because of their strength, but because of the Spirit Guardian core in the Gorge. The alien in the cloak says they tried to destroy the core, but failed. The alien says they will have a chance to destroy it while Shinlin's mind is under a control spell. He tells them to let her go back and destroy the core herself. The aliens are enthusiastic about his idea. They consider themselves more cunning and devious than the human race, and are surprised that it hasn't been invented before. Jan thinks their trick might succeed, that he now realizes who is in charge of the alien race. The aliens decide to create and cast a control spell together. The spell begins to take effect on Chingling, causing her to shriek loudly. Jan decides that this spell is very costly and requires concentration, and so now is the perfect moment to strike. There's a massive explosion. All the aliens are in shock. The cobblestones start falling down. The aliens panic and scream and don't realize what's going on. Has the Empress come? One of the aliens notices that Shinlin has disappeared. The alien says she was injured and couldn't recover in 3 hours, that someone took her. The aliens decide to block all exits and search for him. John escapes with the help of magic and with Chingling on his back. She says she doesn't want him to be the one to save her. He replies that she has no choice who saves her. Suddenly, a worm-like monster appears in front of them. Jang stops abruptly, cursing. He yells for the one to go to hell and attacks him with his energy. Jang looks at his fist in shock. A stone chip falls on him. He falls down and screams that this mountain is too fragile. In the dungeon, the ringing silence drew frightening images in his mind. Suddenly the ceiling collapses and Jan falls there, hitting the floor. On top of him, Shinlin falls on top of him with a scream. She lands right on his head. She gets up and says it hurts. She rubs her ass and says it hurts. She asks Jan why his nose is bleeding. He thinks he's fine. It comes from upstairs that they fell here and for someone to go and report to the high priest. Chingling says it's not good that they've already been discovered. Jang grabs her hand and starts to run away. He says that there are many passages in this cave, so it will be hard to find them. Jang asks where the light is coming from and why the cave is bright and green, but it looks creepy. Chingling asks if they can find a way out. Jang peeks around the corner and exclaims in surprise. It turns out to be the resting place of the ancestors of an alien race. Jan realizes that they have fallen into someone's ancestral grave. Arriving at the secret mission location, Swanti and Dandian's reward, a brain upload is performed. Chingling says it's time for them to move on. The upload is complete. Jang clutches his head in pain. Chingling asks what happened. Jang says it's okay. The system put so many things in his head that he almost went crazy. Jang asks with a smirk if she has a crush on him if she cares so much. Chingling says he's talking nonsense. She turns around, walks away, and says that the male mind is too primitive and that she's going to ignore him from now on. She looks back, not noticing Jang. Chingling asks why he isn't leaving. Jang says he knows why the cave is glowing green and looks at the bone. He says that these remains are medicinal materials and are called soul bones. The light in the cave is the spiritual energy that their owners have accumulated during their lives. From the tunnel come the alien voices that the fugitives have been found. Shinlin realizes that they have been caught up. They stop at the entrance to the cave and tell Jang and Chingling to get out, for it's not enough to kill them for breaking into their ancestors' tomb. Jang Lan tells them to be careful, because this place is reminded of spiritual energy, and if he uses the fireball spell, it will have dire consequences. The alien shouts that they can negotiate. Another alien whispers for them to prepare to attack with ranged spells. Zhang smiles and asks what Chingling thinks of his plan, since the fireball will solve all problems. Chingling is shaking with fear. Suddenly, a fireball begins to fall from Jang Lan's hands. The aliens are screaming in despair. Zhang catches the fireball before it makes contact with the bones. Zhang says he's just kidding. The aliens laugh in relief. The alien notices the fireball rolling away from his palm again. A vapor protrudes on the ringleader's face as he watches Jang Lan's games. Chingling asks if he was joking this time too. Zhang shouts that he wasn't. Zhang tells the system to remove all the dice in the inventory. The system says to activate through a subscription. Zhang agrees. All the ancestral bones are swirled into his inventory. Jan sighs with relief, for nothing was destroyed and every last bone in his inventory. Zhang proudly announces that there is nothing to worry about now. The aliens don't know what to say. Zhang yells while running away and grabs Chingling. The aliens chase after them. He yells that they need to run into the tunnel. The alien creates a black spell and aims it at them, trying to stop them. Chingling yells at him not to fight him. Zhang focuses his energy and prepares to counterattack. There is a massive explosion of gold and black energy in the tunnel. Zhang is pierced by the alien's energy. The passageway collapses, closing the tunnel. Small pebbles fall after a landslide. The alien is angry. The blue alien says they have entered a cave from which there is no way out, and the curse will torture him to death. Zhang says that the curse pierced through him and caused him a lot of pain. Chingling says that the white priest's magic attack is very strong, and there is no defense against it, but Zhang looks fine. Zhang says it's a dead end and they need to trash the rubble and get out, but first he needs to figure out how to contain the curse. Zhang asks how her body's recovery is going. Sinlin blushes and says she's fine. Zhang blushes and asks if she's okay. Sinlin looks at him and says, just thinking about it. The alien yells that this rubble is basalt rock, so it's worse subject to their magic, so they have to put all their strength into it. The alien says that today he wants these fugitives to bleed through every orifice. Chingling clutched at Jang Lan's leg. He says that this is not the time for that. Zhang thinks the aliens are outside, and so they need to figure out how to get out of here sooner rather than later. Chingling tells him not to leave. Suddenly an idea hits him, for he can use the soul bones to clear the passage. Sinlin says he can't escape her and pushes him to the ground. Chingling asks her for help because she feels awkward. Jan clenched his teeth. She draws his palm to her waist. She clenches her breasts between her hands and licks herself. Zhang realizes that this is her erogenous spot, and she herself took the initiative to have him touch it. She leans into his face and whispers his name. Jan throws a screaming punch. He slapped her neck and she passed out. Jan sighs with relief and says that he could hardly restrain himself. He thinks that real men shouldn't take advantage of a woman's weakness, and apologizes to her for what he did. The current charge is 180%. You must release the energy immediately. He took out 1% soul bones from his inventory. With his magic, he engages the bones. The alien listens and says he can't hear any movement and wonder if they could have died. He asks if they can clear the rubble, go in and watch. The stones of the rubble begin to glow. Suddenly there is an explosion. The alien is slammed against the rocks. The blue alien screams that they're out and it's time to attack. Wuzhang comes out in Chingling's arms and asks why they are attacking them with curses if they won't break through the ancestral bones' defenses. The alien screams that it's impossible to reflect from the attack. Jan says it took less than 30% of his energy to create armor sets for him and Chinlin, and he's the one still holding back. He says he's going to have to create a bigger problem now because he needs to let out some extra energy. Golden energy bursts out of the alien ancestral mountain, destroying it. Chingling asks if she passed out. Jang Lan flies with her in his arms and says that she was under the influence of a rousing spell and forced him to take action. Luckily, he created 2 sets of armor, and with the help of the ancestral bones, they defended themselves and then escaped. Sinlin understands that alien spells can confuse the minds of humans, but she had never heard of spells with such an effect. She doesn't understand why she wanted to seduce him. Jan is consumed with thoughts. In front of the canyon lie the defeated aliens. Shunan says they've been gone too long. The Empress replies that Jang Lan will succeed, and the alien race retreated quickly because they were ordered to retreat. And the reason was most likely Jang Lan. Suddenly something falls to the ground, drawing everyone's attention. Zhang and Chingling are lying on the ground. He moans that his lower back hurts, and she screams for him not to touch her. The Empress asks if he survived the alien spells. John eats and replies that the aliens were shocked that they couldn't hurt him, that he killed some priests in purple robes and escaped. Shunan replies that the Spirit Guard Corps is not known to ordinary mortals, that they must investigate thoroughly and find the traitor. Jan lies inside the tent and realizes that the aliens have decided to target the Empress for a reason. But the Empress's time of service is classified. He heard a man's voice, but the man could change his voice. Jan smells a familiar scent. He thinks the scent doesn't affect him, but he wants to see who it's coming from. A silhouette appears in the entrance to the tent. Chingling walks into the tent and heads towards him. Jan wonders if it's her. She looms over him. and he's afraid she's going to punish him again. She throws her leg over him. Jang doesn't realize what she's doing. She sits on top of him and presses his hands to her waist. She bites her lip and thinks she really likes the feeling. She puts her head on his chest and doesn't understand why she's doing this to a dirty man. Jan looks at her and realizes this is the second time this has happened, but this time she's in her clear mind to let him touch her. She lies on top of him and asks if she likes him. Jan replies in thought that it's obvious. The 5th login task is completed, and the reward is a one-hit kill glove that can be used 3 times. Shinlin decides that while he sleeps, she can get a good look at his big treasure. Jan tenses up and thinks she can't handle this venture and she'd better put her curiosity aside. She starts pulling his pants down. Someone shouts that an enemy attack is beginning and the aliens are closing in. Shinlin frowns. Outside the camp, the alien holds a white flag and shouts that he is with peaceful intentions and wants to see the Empress. The Empress, Ichi, and Shunan stand on the dais, the latter asking if the aliens want to beg for mercy. The Empress says they were scared by Jang Lan. She says to bring the alien to the camp and call Jang Lan. In the main hall, Shinlin yells how dare they come to their camp and do they want to destroy the Spirit Guardian core. The alien shouts that it's just a misunderstanding. The alien begs to be spared, giving them 30 carloads of blue crystals, which he asks the Empress to accept. Blue crystal is a very rare ore, and the Jade Clan only has a few kilograms of this ore. The aliens sent a generous gift. Jang Lan says the alien thinks they are so poor that they will accept this piece of trash as a gift of reconciliation. Kinlan blushes and thinks that after her scent, he should have slept through tomorrow and realizes that he didn't sleep at all. Jang Lan asks how the alien team attacked the Empress and how they got through Linfang. Shunan agrees that these questions are more important than the blue crystals she was fascinated by. She thinks that Jang Lan is very reserved. The alien says that the man's name was Min, and it was he who led them to find a secret road 50 kilometers west of Linfang Gorge. Jang concentrates the energy and asks where he is now, and if he is definitely male. The alien cries and says that he disappeared and he was definitely male. Jang realizes that the possibility of a traitor being in the Jade Clan can be eliminated. But who could it be? Shunan says that Jang Lan is really talented, as he demanded 10 more carriages of blue crystals. The Empress says to give them a proper reward so that they can return to the clan afterward. Shunan says that Jang Lan changed Chingling's orientation and how she looked at him like she wanted to not kill at all. The Empress turns around and casts a sizzling glare in her direction. Shunan doesn't realize if she said something wrong. At this time in the training room, Jang ponders whether these crystals can really help in cultivation. After all, he just decided to lure out 10 more carts for nothing, and they were so happy that they were at a loss for words. He doesn't understand them. Entry task number 7. Make the next person who enters the hall wear the old uniform. Time requirement is 3 days. Punishment is death by lightning. Someone is coming into the hall. Jan is anticipating who it will be. Ichi enters the hall. Jan is surprised to see her. He decides it would be the easiest thing to do, since she can't see anything, and he just needs to come up with a reason for her to wear what he wants. She sits down across from him and begins to undress. His nose starts to bleed. He realizes that he shouldn't let her know that he's in the audience too. He thinks he's finished, because he wasn't expecting this at all. Jang decides to quietly leave the hall before she notices him. Ichi removes the blindfold from his eyes, but catches a rustle. She clutches her clothes and shoots energy in the direction of the noise. Jang manages to jump up in shock. Jang thinks this girl is very fierce and he can't even move. He decides that by all means she must not realize that he is here. Ichi continues to remove the bandage, thinking she's imagining things. Jang's nose is bleeding. Ichi's eyes are a beautiful blue color, but she is completely blind. Jang thinks it's a pity that she is really blind, even though she has such beautiful eyes. The Empress walks in and asks Ichi to step outside for a bit. Ichi covers himself in surprise. Ichi obeys and gets dressed. Jang sits with his back turned to the wall, praying not to be seen. He sneaks toward the exit and the Empress heads toward him. The Empress says that despite her first impression, Ichi cultivates a unity of sword and heart, a sword that dominates the world. She says not to provoke her. She sits down on the bench and invites him to sit next to her because she needs to get his opinion. Jang likes the idea very much. The Empress tells them that their clan is one of 6 and often oppressed by the other clans. There's a conference in 3 days, and it is a great opportunity to assess the strength of each clan. The Empress says that right now all of their clan's top female students are busy, and only Ichi and Teui will be able to participate. She's afraid they'll fall off the list of the 6 clans. Jang asks if it's unnecessary to put all the best students on guard and if he should take someone with him. The Empress refuses him. She says the conference has been rescheduled and she can't wait for the older student to finish her work. The top of Lingyun Temple where the 6 clans will gather. It is announced that the Jade Clan's Empress Junshuan Yao has arrived as well. The disciples accompanying her are Ichi, Jang Lan, and Zhao Teui. The Empress is called to join the clans already present. A smiling woman shows them where they will sit. Teui is surprised by something. Teui asks indignantly if they are going to be forced to sit in a corner, and at a broken table at that. Jang Lan stops her and says that he heard that the Lingyun clan's finances are limited, and they have difficulties with this, so they shouldn't be scolded too much for this. Jang hugs Teui and says that they luckily brought their own table and chairs with them, so they can sit down. Jang pulls back a chair for the Empress and invites her to sit down. The clansmen present realized that they themselves had embarrassed themselves by trying to shame the Jade Goddess clan. A youngster from another clan yells that they shouldn't be sitting there, but the ringleader tells him it's fine and not to pay attention. The ringleader says it doesn't matter how happy they are today, because tomorrow the real show starts. Two silhouettes stand on the arts field. A voice announces that the Martial Arts Improvement Conference of the 6 clans has begun. In the first round, Lin Qingyun will speak from the Wanxiangzong clan, and Ichi will speak from the Jade Goddess clan. The head of the alien clan says that if they can't place the best students, they should have refrained from participating because they will still lose. The judge says that the winner automatically advances to the next round, which will not end until all 3 students of the same clan have been defeated. It is forbidden to kill or maim. Jang says it's not fair to fight against someone wearing armor. Teui says they practice cruel and unusual foreign kung fu. Ichi concentrates on hearing before attacking. Teui said the opponents are usually determined by lot, but they fight the Wanxiangzong clan every year. Ling Qingyun dodges Ichi's attack, and those rays that hit him simply bounce off his armor. Jang is surprised that even such ferocious sword magic can't penetrate his armor. Teui says that this armor is made of a special ore. Ling Qingyun attacks Ichi, but she bounces back. She attacks him with her energy. Her beams hit one point on his armor and crumple it. Teui says it's any armor that can be broken if you hit the same spot accurately. Ichi feels dizzy and grits his teeth. Teui yells that the sons of bitches are using the vertigo stones to disarm Ichi. The opponent strikes Ichi. She manages to recoil but loses her balance. Teui and Jang Lan run up to the fallen Ichi. The judge says it's a clean victory for the Wanxiangzong clan. Ling Qingyun asks who will be next. Teui runs towards him with his hammer swinging. The referee announces that round 2 has begun. Ling Qingyun dodges her blows and says that with such skills, they don't belong among the 6 clans and that he is ashamed of her skills. Teui swings his hammer at him and yells at him to shut up. She throws a punch, but he stops it with his fist. His armored fist blowing cracks to Techui's hammer. The hammer falls apart and she flies away from the impact. Ichi is calling for Teui. She and Jang are worried. The judge says their clan has lost twice and do they want to continue the battle. Ichi hesitates and holds an unconscious Teui in his arms. Jang Lan says to take Teui downstairs and rest, and leave everything to him. Ichi agrees. The clan head Wanxiangzong laughs and advises them to refrain and save his clan from further disgrace, for his one disciple had defeated almost everyone. Ling Qingyun tells Jang Lan not to even think that he can win with ingenuity like yesterday. He tells him to bow down and get out of here while his bones are still intact. Jang puts on his gloves and says his speeches are amusing, asking if he added a strengthening talisman to his hands. Ling Qingyun yells for Jang to shut up and runs to attack. The clan head shouts for him not to finish him off too quickly and save the Jade Goddess clan from at least some of the ridicule. Jang punches him once and sends him into a knockout. He says you shouldn't brag until you win. The head of the alien clan is in complete shock at the turn of events. The audience was surprised that Lin Qingyun couldn't fight back against the girl, and the Jade Goddess Temple has such a brutal fighting technique. Jang is glad he put him down with one punch. 2 uses of the gloves remain. The clan head Wanxiangzong shouts that Lin Qingyun has relaxed after winning and sends Qinfu away. Qinfu bursts into battle and uses the invincible hot wheel technique. He concentrates power in his legs and arms, and combined with his speed, this makes him a deadly weapon. He once killed a huge number of enemies with this technique. Jang Lan punches away, sending him crashing to the ground and praising him for a good attempt. The Empress apologizes for her apprentice being so bloodthirsty. Siluo is sent into the ring. Siluo recognizes Jang Lan's strength, but feels sorry for her because he will fight him now. Siluo is called the Invincible Golden Boy because of his kung fu technique of the same name, and not even the clan leader can defeat him. Siluo launches an attack, and the clan leader rejoices that because of Siluo, the Wanxiangzong clan is invincible. Jang Lan punches it and asks if such a technique exists. Siluo snorts, and his clan leader yells that any attacks against him are useless. Siluo suffers a crushing defeat. Jang asks if he won, and the referee confirms it in awe. The Jade Goddess clan won the first battle. The clan leader fainted. In the second battle, the victors will face the Xuanjian clan. Jang sighs and says he doesn't understand how girls with large breasts live. He took out 2 round watermelons from his pocket. A woman's leg in mesh tights appears in the doorway, a voice calling out to Jang Lan. Tejuo smiles and asks what he thinks of her improved tights. Jang Lan praises her choice with a blush and a thumbs up. The energy around him feels familiar to him. Teui looks away and thanks him for his hard work today, as they got closer to victory. She says he deserves to take as long a vacation as he wants. But there's no sign of Jang Lan. Within the Lingyun clan's territory, the Empress had another seizure. It would be embarrassing if they found out, so Jang Lan decides to do something. The Empress yells for him to hold her tighter. Jan doesn't know what she wants. He lets her do whatever she wants. Jang asks if his body neutralizes pain. The power of the Jade Goddess is so powerful that it can destroy his body or impair his skills. Jang wants to help her once and for all. The divine body contains a lot of yang and the Jade Goddess has a lot of yin, and if damage needs to be healed, there is only one way. They would have to do double cultivation. The system asks if Jang Lan is ready. Only dual cultivation can save the Empress from death. Jang decides to do as the system advises. She says she can help him figure out how and what to do. He begins to saturate the Empress with his energy. He believes that a real man will not take advantage of women. He decides to repair the gold core since it is the most damaged. The system warns that if he chooses to repair the core, his powers will be depleted. After exhaustion, the divine body recovers for 12 hours, and during that time, he would be unable to do anything. The system reminds him that he needs to compete tomorrow. The Empress is surprised she's still alive. Her damaged core has recovered, and she suspects that Jang Lan did it. The price of energy depletion is kidney pain, which angers Jang Lan. The system says it's for him for not taking advantage of the situation. Jang doesn't understand what she didn't like, and asks why she's so bothered by his restraint. The system replies that he's talking nonsense. The system has strange fetishes on its mind, then uniforms, then questionable situations. Ichi sits in his room and asks where he's been, and he replies that he had a stomach ache and was in the bathroom. Jang is embarrassed and asks why she waited for him. She says he worked really hard tonight, and she just came to remind him that tomorrow's round will consist of 3 close combat bouts, and they are definitely the center of everyone's attention. She tells him to take care of himself. He is embarrassed, but agrees. She asked him to fight, but to take care of himself. He asks him to wait. She asks what he smells like. He lies that it's toilet incense, but it's really the smell of the Empress. She's tripping him. He falls on his butt and cries out. Ichi orders him to freeze. She says that the smell is very familiar to her. Jan decides to change the subject. He remembered how the other clan cheated in battle, and they'll do it tomorrow, so he offers to heal her eyes. Ichi says that just because it's Jang Lan, she will trust him. She hopes he can help her. Jang Lan was just joking when he suggested it. Jang Lan will make every effort to help her. Ichi has one eye closed and says she can only see the largest objects. Turns out she's not completely blind. She's almost completely nearsighted. Jan wants to buy glasses for Ichi with points. The system is still angry. Its reactions are too human. Jang was going to heal Ichi's eyes and then have her wear the uniform, but she would have to wear the uniform with an eye patch if not healed. Jang gets the points. He says the system is like a randy old man, so he knows how to deal with it. He's going to put them on Ichi. He smiles and asks how she is. She says it's amazing and asks how he did it. Jang says he's a master of miracles, and if she wore the glasses tomorrow, everyone would be very surprised. Ichi is very grateful to Jang Lan and bows. He says she can do him a mutual favor. He pulls out an outfit and asks her to put it on. She says the outfit has a weird style and asks why she would wear it. Jang says it's a gift for a friend, and he wants to see how it fits Ichi's figure since they're the same size. Ichi agrees to try it on and asks to wait. Ichi has become even deadlier with her vision. Tomorrow she must defeat all enemies, and John will spend points on things that will help him fight without divine power. Ichi says she's done and exits. Ichi says this outfit is too small for her. Jan says the size is right and it looks great. The divine body is at the cooling stage and energy is being drained out through Jang's nose in the form of blood. Ichi asks fearfully what happened. Jang waves his hands, calming her down. Ichi stumbles on the uneven floorboards. She falls on top of Jang. Jang snorts in response to Ichi's apology. A little blood spurts out of his nose. She bends down in an apologetic bow and says she tripped and hurt him unintentionally. She bows and apologizes. With every bend she makes, more blood spurts out of him. Jang says it's okay and offers to discuss tactics for tomorrow. He says he won't be able to cultivate energy until tomorrow, and so the victory falls on Ichi's shoulders. Ichi apologizes and her button flies off because of the tilt. Jang tells her to stop apologizing. The 3 teams that won today are in the finals. They will most likely be placed first, and Ichi and Teui should hold out until he recovers, and then they will definitely win. Ichi says she'll share with Teui and do her best, but her outfit is torn. Jang says he has clothes for her and to go to Teui. They say their goodbyes. She likes Jang, but she's dedicated to cultivation, and she can't afford such lewd thoughts. If Ichi hadn't left, Jang would have died of blood loss. He's calling the system. The system congratulates him for completing the 7th task and wants to give him an award. Jang interrupts her. Jang wants to exchange the award for points. Rewards are always very rare gear, and exchanging them for points for the sake of common items is not advisable. Jan asks for more points and suggests creating more benefits next time. The reward can be exchanged for 4,000 points, and she can transfer it to his account. Jang agrees. There are 4,359 points in the account. which John is going to exchange for some kind of weapon, like a machine gun or a pistol. The system says there are rifles, exo-armor, and nukes. Jan tells her to give him everything. The system resents that he's lost his mind, because this is an ancient era and there can't be such weapons here. Jang asks why she was offering it to him and what he would be able to trade for his points. The system opens a portal to the vault. Jan has a bunch of different weapons and items in front of him. He's happy with his choice of weapon. The finale of the conference begins. Participants from the winning sects are invited to the stage. Participating from the Lingyun clan are Qin Yun, known as Gentleman Lingyun Sword, Hu Wang, and Zhao Liang. Participating from Xuanjin are Night Owl, who can chop off 1,000 heads with one blow, Kai Zhe and Wu Dong. The members from the Jade Goddess clan appear. Zhang asks if the girls are hungry. The Xuanjin clanmaster laughs at Jang Lan having pancakes brought into the arena. Linson is advised not to laugh because yesterday she beat 3 students with only 3 punches. He shouldn't underestimate them. The clan heads decide that the Jade Goddess clan can no longer be allowed to show off, because if it comes out, none of the 5 clans will be able to raise their eyes in shame. The head of the Xuanjian clan says that their luck has run out. The Lion and Xuanjian clans join forces to defeat the Jade Goddess clan. But Jang Lan is surprisingly calm. He probably has a plan. The final is a 3-way fight with 9 people, and there is only one rule. No one can be killed or maimed. The last man to surrender or lose consciousness is eliminated, and the last man standing is the winner. The finals begin and the contestants are given 90 minutes. The clan favorites go on the attack against the Jade Goddess clan. Zhang pats himself on the head, remembering something. The attacker notices Jang Lan's reaction. Teui asks what happened. Zhang is given 3 strikes a day, and there are only 6 opponents. Zhang wonders which enemy will be the first to be defeated. Opponents realize that Zhang can only knock out from 1 punch 3 times a day. They want to frame the other clan for these blows. The ones that ran to attack decide to retreat. They want to let the other clan advance, but they don't want to attack first. 1 hour to finish. Participants simply stand and do not attack. The ringleader yells for them to hurry up and attack. The contestants decide to ignore it and wait it out because they don't want to get hit by the knockout blows. It would take another hour for Zhang to regain his energy, and if they waited, they were guaranteed to win. Ichi screams danger. She and Teui fend off the attack with daggers. The audience is thrilled that the action has begun. Qin Yun decides to take action, for it seemed to him that the waiting had gone on long enough and it was time for them to stretch out. They decided to provoke the Jade Goddess clan. They have figured out Jang Lan's bluff after all. He can't use his gloves, and if he could, he would be on guard. The battle begins. Qin Yun made the first move, the other participants hesitant to attack. The disciple says they should not be in a hurry and should let them fight. They will wait for an opportunity before making their move. The attackers continue to advance and decide they don't need to wait for stragglers. Trinity attacks. Teui and Ichi hold the defense, but the pressure of the attackers is hard to contain. Qin Yun realized that this was a bluff on Jang Lan's part, or heard those words and opened his mouth in shock. Hu Wang attacks Ichi on Qin Yun's tip. Zhang frowned. The Empress leans forward with excitement. Hu Wang gets caught in a looping trap on the ground. Noose tightens his grip on his leg. Zhang bids him a happy farewell. Hu Wang is shocked. He's pulled away from the ground. Trap throws him out of the arena. Hu Wang is defeated. Someone has set traps in the arena. A clan head asks if there was a trapping arrangement this year. The other asks why they weren't told. Head Xuanjin says that he too just found out about the traps and they didn't set any. After all, they wouldn't have fallen into them themselves. The clan leaders realize something's going on. This trap cost Zhang 30 points. The contestant accuses Jang Lan of being the one who set the traps. Teui attacks him and says it is not for him to judge the honesty of others. Qin Yun asks if Kai Si is going to help him. Ichi is distracted by the sonic vibrations. Jang Lan decides to attack first, and then deal with the short-legged Teui. Teui is indignant upon hearing the nickname. Ichi takes off her blindfold. 2 men come at her? She throws them away from her with energy. Ichi put on her glasses and smirked. The hour of the victory scales was now tipped towards the Jade Empress clan. Zhang praises Ichi. The contestant grasps his bloody chest. He is shocked that Ichi is not blind. Ichi attacks the attackers with his foot. At the end of the attack, she kicks them back into the wall. The head of their clan is shocked. The situation in the arena had changed drastically. The entire Jade Goddess clan remained in the arena, 2 from Lingyun and 1 from Xuanjian. With 15 minutes to go, there were only 6 contestants left in the arena. All chances of victory are in the hands of the Jade Goddess clan. Qin Yun is afraid of becoming a laughingstock as a result of losing. Ichi and Techui's magic is not that perfect, but Jang Lan's is very strong. He decides to use his last trump card. The head of his clan nods approvingly at him. The contestants eat some pills. They decide to dope to increase their magic level. Zhang notices they're up to something. Magic begins to ooze from the hands of the attackers. They run forward to take out Jang Lan first. Ichi rushes to her defense. Zhang yells for her not to do that. The magic strikes Ichi and incapacitates her. Qin Yun attacks Jang, but Teui pushes him away just in time. Qin Yun attacks with daggers and demands to let him destroy Jang Lan. Teui carries Jang Lan away, but her leg is struck by a dagger. The Qingyun clan takes out Ichi and Teui. The crowd cheers them on. The Empress is furious that the heads allow the disciples to use the Zhengyuan potion, and that they are willing to do such a lowly thing for the sake of victory. The heads deny that their students use doping, laugh at the Empress, and advise them to prepare better next year. The Jade Goddess clan is almost defeated. Ichi realizes that with Zhao Liang's level he couldn't hurt her, which means he was cheating to increase his energy. Teui yells that Ling Yun is doping and they should be ashamed. Qin Yun says that he didn't consume anything, since no one has seen anything like this. The spectators cheer him on and shout that the Jade Goddess clan should admit defeat and not disgrace themselves. Zhang hears the crowd and realizes what he has to do. He decides it's time for a real battle. Qin Yun says to beware of traps. His partner rips off his clothes and runs towards the Jade Goddess clan disciples. He jumps toward them. Suddenly, a bamboo trap mechanism is activated under his foot. He chops the bamboo into pieces. He shouts that such traps are nothing to him. From the side, he activates another trap. She hits him with a clang, knocking him backwards. Qin Yun recognizes the sound. Qin Yun's partner is defeated by the iron bamboo. Zhang opens the inventory and realizes that there are still 2 opponents left. Qin Yun is furious that the Jade Goddess clan doesn't want to surrender. Zhang hides behind a shield from his inventory. Qin Yun was shocked. Where did Jang Lan get such a large shield from? Zhang hides behind his shield and throws something towards his opponent. It turns out to be a rocket launcher. Zhang says he has trumps up his sleeve too. Qin Yun says that she couldn't hide this weapon in her sleeve and runs away from the arrows. Suddenly, a blow splits the rig. Teui shouts as Night Owl storms out of the fight. Night Owl says that Zhang used a lot of tricks, but didn't use her instant knockout technique, which means she can't use it tonight. Owl had been secretly observing Jang Lan's actions all this time. The Empress wondered why Jang Lan couldn't attack anymore. Owl says that Zhang hid behind her shield even from Qin Yun's daggers, though it's not hard to do with the technique, which means she can't use it. Owl decides it's time to end this farce. Finally, the cooling of the divine body is complete and its recharging is available. Jang Lan prepares to repel the attack. He is yelled at to dodge. Suddenly, the attack is reflected by Techui's hammer. She shivers and says he needs to dodge, not stand still. Zhang reassures her and tells her that all danger is behind her and she can just watch. Zhang yells for them to get ready to fly and makes a fist. Night Owl and Qin Yun flinched. The attack fails, discouraging him, as Jana has no energy. The current energy reserve is 0, and it is necessary to recharge the body in time. Zhang is shocked that he only found out about this now. Night Owl says the show is over. Qin Yun says that Zhang has fooled him again. If Teui assumes a hot pose and Zhang touches it, his energy will be restored. Zhang says it might hurt a little, but she has to do it. Suddenly, there is an explosion and Jang Lan is thrown backwards. This explosion was done by Qin Yun, who says that Jang Lan definitely has no chance of winning now. Zhang raises up on his elbows. Now that Teui and Ichi are unconscious, he doesn't know how to restore power. He contemplates whether he can get the Empress to let him charge from her or start reading an adult magazine, but he may not have time to build up a charge. Zhang is panicked and doesn't know what to do. Qin Yun attacks the Night Owl. Night Owl's illusion seal is broken. The owl falls to the ground face down. To Jang Lan's bewilderment, his opponents started fighting each other. Qin Yun thanks his rival for helping him deal with Jang Lan and decides to deal with him first. Head Xuanjian shouts that Qin Yun betrayed his fighter. Head Lingyuan says that there can only be one winner. The mask falls from Owl's face, exposing her face and long hair. Pieces of the mask scatter to the ground. The owl turns out to be a woman. She is angry at the traitor. Qin Yun laughs at Owl's gullibility. Zhang is happy to have a girl by his side. The owl irritably threw knives at Qin Yun. He jumps up, dodging the attack. He says she is no threat to him. He swings around and takes off, preparing his attack. He yells that she's finished. He strikes, but Zhang Liang manages to carry Night Owl away unharmed. Zhang Liang screams and drops the owl on the ground. The judge yells out that Jang Lan saved Night Owl. Did they decide to team up? But it is unlikely to help them. Qin Yun says that he wanted to play with Jang Lan, but it's like she's asking him to finish her off quickly. Owl yells that she shouldn't have saved her, and she doesn't need Jang Lan's help. Zhang asks if she's willing to let him win, and if she's willing to help, then they can finish him off. Owl thinks about the offer and asks how she can help. Qin Yun attacks and shouts that the time for discussion is over. Smoke spreads from the thing Zhang throws on the ground. Qin Yun notices Zhang's movement. The referee yells that Jang Lan used a smoke bomb to stall for time. The referee yells that Qin Yun seems afraid to make an attack, and Zhang's tactics are obviously working. Qin just took a break and promises himself that he will kill this idiot after the contest. Owl squints at the smoke around her. She asks what Zhang is doing. Zhang says her clothes are torn and gives her a new outfit. He paid points for it. Owl yells that this outfit is humiliating. Zhang replies that he can't explain it, but if she wears it, he will have the strength to defeat Qin Yun. Owl doesn't believe him. She heard that there are lesbians in the Jade Goddess Clan, and now she has proof of it. She is going to show everyone what she thinks about the outfit. Jang tries to stop her. Suddenly, her hand with her clothes freezes. Owl says that this outfit is incredibly soft, and she would love to try it on. Jang says she should definitely try it on. The owl begins to take off his clothes. She takes off her clothes in front of Jang and says she's ready to try on the outfit. Jang is pleased with the sight. The divine body begins to charge up. Qin sees Jang and Owl's silhouettes and rushes to attack. He releases the Flame Tiger spell, already confident of his victory. Jang stops the attack with his fist. Jang says the competition has just started. Owl says the skirt is too short. Owl doesn't understand why she is embarrassed to wear such clothes, but at the same time, also enjoys it. The referee yells that Owl has suddenly changed into a revealing outfit. The audience yells that they can't see the details, but the outfit is obviously revealing, and they love it. The Empress gets annoyed and wonders what they were doing in the smoke. Qin paled that Jang had repelled his Flame Tiger fist in just one move, and didn't understand how he managed to do it. Jang says it's better to call that punch the pussycat fist. Owl chuckles. Jang notices that Night Owl is a ferocious opponent, but she has a pleasant laugh. Jang notices that Owl also has large breasts. The divine body is 150% charged and needs to be drained immediately. Jang decides that the longer he stares at the girl, the worse he will feel. Qin shouts for Jang not to dare laugh at his techniques and prepares to attack. Suddenly, Jang rushed towards Qin and threw a punch. The impact throws him backwards. Jang says he talks a lot. It's better to concentrate on the fight instead of rambling. The referee says that Qin is knocked down, and Jang Lan has once again shown her awesome strength. Qin rises threateningly and asks why Jang Lan hid her strength before. Jang replies that she just wanted to tease him. Qin attacks and shouts for her not to think that he would start to fear her if her strength recovered. He fully activates Genuandan. Qin gains incredible speed and attacks with his fists. Jang fights back effortlessly from his attack and says that he is too weak if he is only able to do such a thing after doping and asks if he has kidney failure. Qin becomes enraged. He creates a sword and yells for Jang to blame himself. The Empress recognizes the Demon Slayer's sword and wonders what a sword capable of destroying the world is doing in a mere apprentice. The head replies that he is worthy to hold this weapon. Qin shouts with rage and strikes out with his sword. Jang stands, preparing to reflect the flow of energy that the sword generates. The heads say that if she doesn't dodge, she will definitely lose. But they are happy that the Jade Goddess Clan will be at the bottom again, as it should be. No one can resist this sword except the wielder of the Guiyun sword. Jang dissects the opponent's attack with his sword. He says that the heads are overconfident. The clan head doesn't understand where Jang got this weapon from. The other clan heads are in complete shock. The ancient Guiyun magic sword in Jang's hands. Could it be that the Jade Goddess Clan possesses such artifacts? The clan heads think that the Empress is very rich and dares to keep such treasures a secret. The Empress replies that they should not look at her, but at the arena. Qin drinks his sword with energy and says that Jang Lan can never be defeated. The judge says that Qin summons a sword demon using essence and blood, and is going to perform a decisive strike, as this strike can kill with a single attack. Qing is the epitome of perseverance. The stands all support Qin and tell Jang Lan to surrender. Tens of thousands shouting in support of Qin, and anyone would be hurt by this. Even if Jang has a magic artifact, the hostility of the crowd doesn't diminish it. Jang dissects the stands with energy and scares the audience. Jang Lan tells them not to piss him off. Owl decides that she is underestimating Jang. The referee yells that it's against the rules to damage the stands and threaten spectators. Jang casts a death glare at the referee. The judge changes his attitude and says that Jang has a good chance of winning and the Jade Goddess Temple will win soon. The judge has the temperament of a dog and tends to attack the weak and fear the strong. Qin knows that the stands are made of iron and concrete, and if he tried to hit them, he wouldn't even be able to make a dent. But Jang randomly slashed them open with a punch, and Lin knows that he can't defeat her. Qin realizes that if he moves, he will immediately lose, and doesn't know what to do. Jang gives him two options, die or surrender. Qin surrenders and says that in a fair fight there is no shame in surrendering or losing. The clan head shouts that Qin is a coward. Night Owl and Jang Lan remain in the game. The referee asks what they will do. Owl says she has no powers and gives up too. The Night Owl has surrendered, which means the Jade Goddess Clan is the winner. The judge announces that the winner of the 6 Clans Conference is the Jade Goddess Clan. Qin suddenly coughed up blood and tried to cover his mouth with his palm. He falls to his knees, shaking and vomiting blood. Jang realizes that this was a side effect of using doping and releasing so much magical energy. Owl yells for Jang to be more careful. The clan head rushes in with an attack on Jang and says that his apprentice surrendered, but Jang killed him anyway. Jang had 20% of his energy defense left after being hit. Jang bounces off the ringleader, his feet leaving furrows in the ground. The ringleader says it's his duty to deliver justice today. Jang's clothes are torn, he trembles and moans in pain. The Empress grits her teeth after seeing what has happened. The judge notices that Jang's clothes are filled with buns. Jang tries to cover himself. The ringleader smiles because Jang pretended to be a woman from the Jade Goddess Clan. He laughs because the main hallmark of the Empress clan was hatred of men, and they let a man fight at their side. Night Owl realizes she just changed clothes in front of a man. The clan head says that the Empress took an outsider for the conference, and it's a bit upsetting. The second head says that they are not so righteous, and have redrawn the reputation of the Jade Goddess Clan among the other clans. The Empress hears their words and is annoyed. The ringleader demands an explanation from the Empress. She's afraid they'll be kicked out of the 6 clans because of the scandal. She's starting to make excuses. Jang chews a bun and interrupts the Empress. He says that the ringleader is a pompous idiot for demanding an explanation from the Empress. And the Ling Yun clan chooses the ringleader based on his level of chutzpah. Leader Ling Yun tells him to shut up and promises to deal with him later. Jang says that he just likes to interrupt. And the leader is just stupid, because the Jade Goddess Clan never explicitly said that a man can't join their clan. The judge confirms Jang Lan's words. After all, there is no prohibition for males in their rules, and everyone just made it up to be true because they have never accepted men. The ringleader asks why they tricked everyone and disguised Jang Lan as a woman. Jang says he just likes to dress up as a woman and never said he was a woman. Jang sacrifices his reputation for the clan and Jun Xuanyao now owes him. The ringleader screams that he's not an idiot for believing it. Jang says that they didn't break any rules, and the Jade Goddess Clan didn't promise to nominate only women for the conference. Also, there is no rule that people like Jang Lan should not participate. The heads are upset, but they can't charge anything to Jang Lan. The ringleader tells Jang not to dare cheat them, and the 6 clans must eliminate him from the competition. The ringleader did not give in to Jang Lan's entreaties. The Empress, Teui, and Ichi are unable to continue fighting and so will have to retreat. Someone says the head of the Changrog clan says hello. Jang and the head look up. Long Wushuang, a great disciple of the Jade Goddess Clan, says that the head wants to see who won the competition. The great disciple's name is Wushuang, and she ended the retreat early. The heads of the other clans are unhappy with her interference in the arena. Jang Lan likes the view of Wushuang, his body starting to charge up. The girl calls the other 5 clans trash because they chose to cause trouble for her Jade Goddess Clan. She says they shouldn't underestimate them. The head of the Ling Yun clan orders her down to the ground. The disciples of his clan rush to attack. They say they are keeping order at the conference and advise Wushuang not to resist for her own safety. Wushuang interjects what they said. She summons her weapon. She says they are the ones who need to worry about safety and lashes out at them. Students create a joint spell of the Golden Dragon Array. Wushuang's energy sweeps away their spell, and them along with it. 3 students are flattened against the bleachers. Jang thinks that such a fancy name is surprisingly of little use since the spell can't even stop a single blow. Night Owl suspects that Jang is completely unaware of Long Wushuang. Jang asks what she is famous for. Long Wushuang is the strongest warrior of the Jade Goddess Clan, and once single-handedly stopped an army of 30,000 aliens. It is said that she is the only one who has obtained the true inheritance of the Jade Goddess's power and is comparable in strength to the Empress 10 years ago. Jang says that the Empress is very strong now, but 10 years ago she was even stronger. The power of the Jade Goddess is the first wonder of the world. There are a total of 9 stages of developing her power, but when one reaches the 8th stage and breaks through, the possessor becomes godlike. Long Wushuang had reached the 5th stage, and the Empress had reached the 8th stage and had almost passed it. Head Ling Yun yells that Long Wushuang dared to intrude in the fight, and he decides to teach her the rules himself. His clan's deputy asks for the head to temper his anger. Long Wushuang is the sole heir of the Long family, and pissing them off would not be very wise for the clan. The head pales. Head Ling Yun retreats. The deputy congratulates the Jade Goddess Clan on their victory. Jang is surprised that the fight is already over. Jang says he has to go and runs to Ichi and Teui, who are lying unconscious. Night Owl decides to find out what is so special about Jang Lan, that he has been accepted into the Jade Goddess Clan in their next meeting. After winning the 6 clans competition, Jang Lan suddenly transformed into the hero of the Jade Goddess Clan. Jang Lan can now walk around the clan grounds safely and not have to hide from the girls. The girls look at him and say how amazing he is. The system hasn't given Jang Lan a task for 3 days, and it's bothering the hero. Jang says it's strange that the energy around him is more like Yinki rather than the Jade Goddess. Jang sees a building engulfed in purple energy and wonders if it's demons. A voice comes from the building, saying that he is surprised that the Jade Goddess Clan has a male member, even though the clan is known for hating them. Jang says he's going to go do his business. The seal on the door begins to glow, and a voice suggests that they go inside to see what's inside. Jang asks what could possibly be in the sealed demon. The voice promises to show Jang Lan something amazing if he goes inside. The voice speaks of the Empress's great secret. Jang thinks about her figure. Jazz looks inside and asks what big secret of the Empress the voice was talking about. The blonde shackled woman says that Jang Lan has indecent thoughts and she's talking about valuable information, not the physical attributes of the Empress. The blonde asks who he is and what he's doing in the Jade Goddess clan. Jang says he and thought of the information and is the gatekeeper at the clan. The girl holds out her hand and asks why he shouldn't get closer to her since she won't bite. Jang Lan says that her methods won't work on him and she shouldn't get out of her skin. The shackled blonde says he's a very interesting man since he can resist her charms and is surprised he didn't jump her right away. Jang says that he would have done that a month ago, but now she just needs to be on her best behavior since he has no intention of touching her. Jang turns around and walks away. The blonde screams that he was only interested in the Empress's form a moment ago and demands that he look at her. Jang says he won't be able to make love for another 2 days, but will come back to her in a few days when he's ready. Suddenly, chains wrapped around Jang Lan. They tighten around his neck. Jang Lan asks what's going on. The blonde says she's glad she surprised him. Turns out the chains weren't restraining her. She lured him inside so he wouldn't close the door. Jang slams the door shut before the chains drag him away. The girl yanks the chain and tells Jang to take her time closing the door, since she wasn't planning on leaving at all. Jang pulls the chain away from her neck and asks what she wants to do then. The girl says that she said even earlier that she wanted to do something naughty to him. She parts his clothes with magic and tells him not to worry as she won't hurt him. She lifts her skirt and tells him to just get on and enjoy. Jang gets excited and doesn't understand what's wrong with this world. Is it really that dangerous for a guy here to go out alone? The girl says that he belongs to her now. Jang doesn't understand what she's up to. Jang bites his lip and turns pale. Jang concentrates and decides she can't let her continue and decides to release all the energy. The girl pulls down his pants with a predatory smile. Jang Lan's beam of energy blinds the girl. Energy pierces the ceiling at the sealed building. The girl says she didn't expect such a technique to be available to him. Only a shadow remained of Jang Lan. He ran away while the girl was distracted. Jang pounces on the girl from behind and says that this is a stunt he planned specifically for a situation like this. He chains the girl up. She demands to be released. Jang Lan tells her to accept her situation as she will not be able to free herself from the chains. The girl says these iron chains won't be able to hold her and offers to kill her while he has the chance, or she'll break free in half a day. Jang grabs another chain and says he's not done with it yet. The girl is worried and asks what he's up to. Jang puts the chains on the girl. The girl finds herself tied up and calls Jang Lan a pervert. Jang Lan thanks for the compliment and says goodbye. The girl is suspended in the air and screams for him to let her go. Jang Lan doesn't understand why the Jade Goddess clan only restrained the demon with 2 iron chains. He thinks that the clan is very careless in its actions. Jang walks away and decides it's none of his business. Jang Lan is not only exceptionally talented in the field of magic, but he is also proficient in secret binding techniques. It turns out that he is very skilled and cautious when performing tasks. The system decides to double the difficulty of the tasks. Jang Lan is asleep in his guard room. Someone calls his name and that's when he wakes up. Jang opens the door and asks what happened. Shunan shouts that he slept through the incident. Shunan says that a thief has infiltrated the clan and he has insulted even the Empress's new apprentices. Shunan says that the thieves were able to break into the clan in broad daylight and then disappear. Jang asks how many people were infiltrated. The girl replies that there were at least 10 of them. Jang is surprised that such a crowd managed to infiltrate the clan in broad daylight. Shunan says that's why the Empress is furious. Jang realizes that it was for nothing that he wandered around earlier. Someone shouts that she beat 10, but more could have infiltrated. Shunan tells Jang Lan not to say anything stupid. Jang turned pale and bit his lip. He recognized the voice that shouted. The blonde screams at Teui that the clan is completely defenseless, and it's her own fault. Teui asks if she noticed what they looked like, or what techniques they used. She says she will immediately start an investigation into what happened. Shunan announces that she has brought Jang Lan. Teui says that Jang Lan was guarding the gate yesterday, and asks if he noticed anything unusual. The blonde girl flinches at the sight of the new arrivals. Jang averts his gaze and says he didn't notice anything unusual. The blonde is nervous and wonders what he's doing here. Jang bites his lip. He recognizes the blonde girl and asks himself how this little demoness could have been the Empress's apprentice. Teui asks Xiaohu what is happening to her. The girl replies that she feels a little dizzy. The Empress introduces Jang Lan and says that he is a clan guardian and very strong. She tells him to tell him what happened because he could see the thieves. Jang Lan speculates why she lied that there were 10 people who broke in and why she was locked in the demon tower in the first place. The system gives out the 8th assignment. Jang thinks she picked a strange time to do it. The assignment is to teach Xiaohu to be a masochist. Jang is given 10 days to do this. The reward is unknown, and the punishment is death by exploding anus. Jang Lan gets excited at the thought. Xiaohu says she's still not recovered and should rest. Teui calls out to her. Jang asks why he hasn't met this student before. Shunan says that Xiaohu is the last kitsune, and her clan was attacked by mysterious forces, but the Empress was passing by and saved her. Xiaohu had always wanted to go and seek revenge on her attackers, but she was stopped by the Jade Goddess Clan disciples, because only in the clan can we ensure her safety. Later, when the Demon Tower was created, she was locked up there for her own safety. Xiaohu was unhappy about this and often sabotaged the clan, so the Empress often locked her in the tower so she could reflect on her actions. Jang nods understandingly. No wonder the seal was so weak after all. It appeared to be part of the clan. Shunan tells him to stay away from the kitsune. Jang doesn't understand why. Shunan says that Xiaohu has been trying to leave the Jade Goddess Clan for years, and the Empress will tolerate whatever she does. But there is a prohibition that if she breaks, she will be expelled from the clan. In the Jade Goddess Clan, the Empress's female disciples are forbidden to have sex with men and are subject to immediate expulsion. Xiaohu decides that this time she can finally escape. She decides to get Jang Lan. Jang Lan peeks out from around the corner. Jang thinks he's being pressured. Shanning said that he should stop fooling around and should control himself. If Xiaohu leaves, she will face a sad ending. A hand suddenly rested on Jang Lan's shoulder. Xiaohu tries to grab him by the neck. Jang Lan dodges in time by diving down. Jang Lan was shocked that she had managed to sneak up on him so discreetly. Xiaohu grabs him with an ankle lasso and knocks him down. Jang Lan says that if it wasn't for the Empress, he would have let her engage in such nonsense. Xiaohu casts a nirvana spell, jumping into the air. She clings to his leg with her whip, forcing him to fall in a twine. In the process, she falls to the ground herself. Xiaohu says that she is annoyed that Jang Lan won't come over to see her. He replies to her that it's time for her to stop. She falls on top of him and asks him to let her touch his fruit. Jang Lan replies that it is not the fruit she is touching. Xiaohu throws herself at Jang Lan with a hug. Jang screams and tries to get up. Xiaohu suggests that Jang Lan try to escape from her now. Suddenly, someone lifts her off Jang Lan by the scruff of her neck. Long Wushan holds her by the scruff of the neck and asks when she will calm down. Xiaohu yells for her to be let go. Long Wushan asks if Shunan told Jang Lan about Xiaohu's situation. Jang Lan says that's why he would rather die than submit to Xiaohu's wishes. Long Wushan is satisfied with the answer and tells him to keep his guard up. She takes the screaming Xiaohu away with her. Shunan tells the Empress that Xiaohu is very persistent in her intentions, and they should think of a solution to this problem. Long Wushan suggests that Jang Lan should be castrated to avoid trouble in the future. The Empress replies that this situation is not that important after all. It is also a test of fortitude for Jang Lan and suggests to wait and see. Shunan asks why they would want to test Jang Lan. Shanin suggests that this is a test of loyalty to the Empress and her orders. Jang drives nails in, barricading his door. Jang is satisfied that now his defense is as strong as a rock and no one will be able to enter. He hopes that this defense will deter Xiaohu from invading and molesting him. Suddenly the boards begin to ooze purple energy. Jang Lan bites his lip and recoils, thinking that it is poisonous gas. Xiaohu cooed at Jang Lan, enjoying the process, and giggled. Jang Lan is trying to meditate. He tries to calm his thoughts, otherwise the consequences could be unimaginable. Around Jang Lan, Xiaohu's images bustle, telling him not to be afraid and to open his eyes. Jang Lan finds himself in the system. He asks how he got here since he didn't appeal to the system. The system replies that it does not obey his whims. If the system wants to call it will call it and does not need permission. System asks why Jang Lan is so cowardly, as the girl herself falls into his arms. Jang Lan asks why she wants popcorn and if she's waiting for a special show just for her. He says she doesn't really like him and doesn't want to sacrifice his body for it. The system is surprised at the purity of his thoughts and promises to wait eagerly for developments. The system shows an image of the Empress and Shunan lying on a bed. Jang Lan is surprised to notice him. He gets excited at the sight of them. His nose bleeds. Jang realizes he can't stand the sight any longer. Suddenly, a beam of golden energy kicks open the door to Jang Lan's room. Jang Lan has fallen to his knees and is breathing heavily. Xiaohu walks over to him and giggles. She says her foxy scent finally came in handy and it finally came out on its own. Jang Lan's eyes and cheeks turned red. He jumps on Xiaohu happily, surprising her. She thinks the scent has awakened the beast in him. She's happy her tricks finally worked. Xiaohu opens her arms and tells him not to hold back, because she's ready to get started soon. Jang unleashes his energy and kicks out the gate. Xiaohu asks what he's done. Jang exhales. Jang Lan had used her internal energy to expel the obsession, and now she would not be able to affect him. Xiaohu happily notices that he has breached a gap in the demon defense. Jang notices a gap in the magic shield. Xiaohu happily jumps out into the gap and thanks him for his help. Her tails and ears appear. Jang Lan tries to catch up with her and yells for her to stop. He falls to the ground. He had used too much energy and his body had not recovered yet. He faints as he watches Xiaohu run away. Shunan scolds Jang Lan that as the guardian of the courtyard, he not only allowed thieves to enter, but also damaged the barrier, causing her sixth sister to escape. Jang is sitting on his heels, his hands tied. Shunan says that the rule says he should be punished, but he also defended the clan's honor at the conference, and so she can make an exception for him this time. Jang Lan exhales in relief. Shunan says that instead of punishment, he will be executed immediately. Jang Lan turns pale and says that they can't kill him. The Empress says he didn't destroy the barrier intentionally and doesn't deserve to die. Shunan reminds her that execution is the minimum punishment the clan can mete out in this case. Jang Lan shouts that he is a man, and since these rules were created for a time when only women could be in the clan, they cannot apply to him. The Empress ponders his words. Shunan notices that the Empress is hesitant, which means that she is really partial to Jang Lan. Long Wushang joins the discussion and says that the first priority now is to get Xiaohu back. Jang Lan turns to her in surprise. Long Wushang says that Xiaohu went to Haimang Grief, where demonic energy is the greatest and cultivating the Kitsune technique would be most effective. They should be able to stop her before her mind is controlled by her own technique. The Empress agrees. Since Jang Lan let her go, he must both return her and correct the mistake. The Empress asks what Shunan thinks about this. Shunan says that she will support whatever the Empress decides. Jang promises to do everything he can to bring Xiaohu back. Long Wushang says that the strength of the two of them will be enough, and they don't need any help. She rushes off and pulls Jang Lan with her by the scruff of his neck. Jang asks if their strength will really be enough. Long Wushang says that cultivating a kitsune requires a lot of energy, and suggests splitting up and finding the place with the most demonic energy. Jang Lan smiles and tells her to let him go. She immediately complies with his request right in midair. Jang falls down and screams in terror. He hits the trees in a tumble and lands on a rock. Jang decides he needs to learn to fly. Jang Lan reasoned that no matter what world you live in, you can always escape from home. He notices a huge pillar of purple energy ahead of him. Xiaohu sits cross-legged and immersed in cultivation. Jang Lan decides to knock her out with a stick, while she concentrates on cultivation. Xiaohu suddenly opens her eyes, her pupils glowing with energy. Gusts of energy broke Jang Lan's weapon and flung him backwards. Jang Lan's back hits the tree. It has only been a few hours since her escape, and she can already send him flying with just a glance. Jang Lan understands why they want her back, as she is a monster capable of destroying the world. Xiaohu's strength should still be at the third stage of heaven. Jang Lan decides to put out all his strength to try and get it under control. He throws adult books around and decides to attack. Charge the subject 100%. Xiaohu smiles, concentrating her energy. Jang is walking towards her in tongues of his energy. She attacks him with an energy discharge. Jang Lan puts up a defense. It takes him 10% of his energy. Jang Lan wraps his legs around her waist, taking her by surprise. He grabs her soft parts and begins to restore her energy. To control Xiaohu, he needs energy, which he fuels by staying in this pose. It's like perpetual motion mode. Charge becomes 110%. She wraps her tail around his neck, taking him by surprise. Xiaohu was angry. She wrapped her tails around his limbs and pushed him away from her. She clenched her teeth and concentrated the energy in her hand, preparing to strike. Jang realizes that such a blow can pierce him through and decides to spend 50% of his energy on defense. Xiaohu throws a punch, but it's met with his defenses. She is struck by the charge of his energy and screams. Xiaohu hurriedly runs away from him. Jang Lan tells her to wait. Kitsune lets out the foxy scent again. Jang squints his eyes. He says that even without his sight, he can still catch her and reaches forward. He tries to grab her by the tails. His eyes are watery and he doesn't realize what his finger is caught on. Opening his eyes, he realizes that he's caught on Xiaohu's panties. He gets excited and realizes that the boundaries of his cognition have expanded. She fights him off and runs away. He apologizes and lies on the ground. A voice comes from the monster head-shaped cave, recognizing the aura of the arrivals. After all these years of waiting, it finally happened. A long black claw scratches the stone wall. The Tiger King smiles and is pleased that the world's last kitsune will finally fall into his hands. Jang Lan runs and looks around. Finding a Demonalisa among the trees is very difficult. He stops abruptly, noticing the pungent smell of blood in the air. He jumps around looking for it and finally finding its source. The dismembered corpses of animals lie in front of him. Jang Lan turns pale and looks around. He covers his mouth and nose against the odor. He thinks the animals were killed by Xiaohu. In the distance, he sees a glint of water and is attracted to the splash. He walks over to the body of water and tells Xiaohu to stop causing trouble. Long Wushan looks back at him to his surprise. He closes his eyes and says he didn't see anything. He believes she is worthy of the title of Big Sister. She asks if they didn't agree to split up and why he came running to her. Jang Lan says in bewilderment that Big Sister went to the west and he went to the east, and this is just the east. There is an awkward silence. Long Wushang snorts and walks away. Jang Lan realizes that she has a poor sense of direction. Jang Lan asks if she killed those animals. She says that when she was tracking Xiaohu, the beasts suddenly attacked her and she was forced to dismount. Xiaohu apparently wanted to slow her down. Jang Lan says that he didn't realize that Xiaohu could control animals. Long Wushang says that Xiaohu grew up in the clan and can't control the animals. Jang Lan asks who could have sicked them on her then. Long Wushang says that whoever it is, they can't stop her from finding Xiaohu and flies away. Jang Lan flinches in surprise, and the fact that she just left him behind like that. Jang Lan decides to rely only on himself and run as hard as he can. He runs and notices fallen trees, huge dents and splits in the ground. Jang Lan shouts to his older sister that he found something. Long Wushang is surprised that this guy's strength is so great that he is able to catch up with her on his own too. Jang Lan says that there was a recent battle here, and there are most likely traces left behind. He notices a scrap of cloth. He takes the flap in his hand and says that someone might have found Xiaohu before them. Long Wushang says he knows who could have done it. Jang Lan is puzzled. Long Wushang that it was the scum of all beasts, the king of tigers. Two beast-like guards with spears stand inside the cave. One notices something unusual and becomes alarmed. Long Wushang decapitates them with such speed that they don't have time to move. Jang Lan looks at the squirming guard and says that Big Sister has amazing technique. Long Wushang says that the Tiger King had a violent temper, and if he failed, he killed everyone involved. She says that when Jang Lan enters the cave, he should proceed carefully, and if he sees Xiaohu, he should go back so they can make a plan to rescue her. The crackle of fire can be heard. In a circle around the campfire, the animals are sitting and chatting merrily. Long Wushang leans against the wall and listens. Two girls enter the hall. They are carrying a piece of cloth and a bikini set. Dark energy rushes past them. Xiaohu finds herself unconscious and tied up surrounded by candles. Long Wushang sees the inscription above Xiaohu and decides that he deserves the title of Scum of Beasts. She punches the wall in anger. She hisses that it says shameless. Behind Long Wushang, the king of tigers appears. She turns around. The Tiger King smiles at the fact that the Empress sent her on this particular mission. Long Wushang says she's here to get someone, and there is he wants to live. He should give her Xiaohu. The Tiger King replies that he will have to refuse because Xiaohu is the last kitsune in the world, and many people would like to get her. He is going to sell her to a favorable buyer, and it is not profitable for him to give her away. Long Wushang yells that in that case, she'll have to deal with him on her own. Suddenly, she feels dizzy. The Tiger King approaches her and asks if she is not feeling well. Long Wushang asks what he is doing to her. To catch Xiaohu, he had waited in this cave for 10 years. He knew that the Jade Goddess clan would definitely not give up. He didn't sit idly waiting for an opportunity, but perfected incense and destructive bones to be able to confront the Jade Goddess clan. Since Long Wushang has inhaled a lot of incense, and soon the poison will strike her heart and lungs and leave her without strength. She growls for him to stay away. He asks if she thinks this room is meant for Xiaohu. He says he wants to seduce Long Wushang specifically. He grabs her by the shoulders. He wants her precisely because of her cold-bloodedness, and today is definitely a good day for him. Long Wushang thinks that she shouldn't have split up with Jang Lan. The wall behind her cracks. From there, Jang Lan bursts out and punches the Tiger King in the muzzle. The Tiger King flies to the ground with a boot print on his cheek. Jang Lan notices that the bastard packed Xiaohu like a gift. Long Wushang says that he poisoned her and she can't use her powers, and now it's up to Jang Lan. Another beast with the head of a tiger appears and angrily asks who dares to touch their king. Jang Lan says that now he plans to not only beat up the king, but also kick his guard. The beast rushes at Jang Lan with a scream. Zhang takes a thudding leg kick right on the chin. Long Wushang blushed and admired Jang Lan's quickness. The guard groans in pain and holds his mouth. He realizes that this guy is not so simple and should not be underestimated. He realizes that Jang Lan is in league with the girl, which means that he is also from her clan, which means that he doesn't have to fight him because he will soon be poisoned by the incense air. He screams and slurs something because that's when his teeth come out of his mouth. Jang Lan asks what he said. Long Wushang says that he is slurring his words because of the lack of teeth in his mouth. Zhang notices that the tiger is diligently writing something. He is surprised that he can do that. He smiles with a toothless mouth and shows a paper where he says that Jang Lan will die soon from the poison, and he just needs to wait a little longer. Jang Lan claps his hands and gasps at what the tiger wrote about him. But before he gets poisoned, he's going to beat the tiger to death. Jang Lan's punch lands on the tiger's face with relish, knocking it back. The tiger thinks that the faster Jang Lan hits, the faster the poison will spread to his subject, which means the tiger just needs to wait for the guy to get poisoned. Zhang says that he only lives in the Jade Goddess clan. but he is not trained in their techniques and swings at the tiger. Tiger gets punched in the face and asks himself why he didn't say so sooner. The tiger falls down and raises the white flag. Jang Lan is surprised that he's already surrendering. Jang asks his older sister what he should do about this guy. Long Wushang replies that he has committed an unpardonable crime and should be killed. Jang Lan smiles and says that the bones, skin, and claws of the tiger will be a great reward for him. Tiger wrote on the note a request that he not be killed, for he had useful information for them. Jang asks what information he has. Tiger painstakingly writes. He wrote that he knew the truth about the extermination of the Demonlich clan. Long Wushang says he can tell everything and they will let him live. Long Wushang sits down next to Jang Lan and demands that the tiger start talking. Tiger begins to write a poem. Jang Lan and Long Wushang are disappointed by his attempts. Jang exchanges the 5 points for dentures for the tiger. He stuffs them in his mouth and says that even though they are dentures for old people, at least this way he can tell them properly. Tiger rejoices as if he has grown real teeth. Jang Lan tells him not to get distracted. Tigre says that the demon pearl of the Demonlicious clan is a very rare item. It brings great benefits when cultivated, and that's why it has been hunted for over 1,000 years. 30 years ago, the last clan of Demonlace were hiding in the mountains where no one would be able to find them. Tiger had learned of their whereabouts quite by chance, and so he passed this information on to Xuan Jianzong. That one could not bear the shame of the destruction of the Demonless clan, and 6 clan heads were summoned for his meeting. Everyone wanted to attack the Fox clan to take the demonic pearl and increase the strength of their clans. Everyone except the Jade Goddess clan, who was against it. Long Wushang says that the other clans attacked the Demon Face clan anyway, and only Xiao Hu was saved by the Empress. Tiger confirms this and says that the 5 clans joined together even though the 6th was against it. The Empress had to keep it a secret, and she took Xiao Hu into her clan to raise her safely. Jang Lan understands why Xiao Hu wanted to escape to take revenge. She thought that the Jade Goddess clan was also involved in the genocide of her clan. Jang Lan says that such things are not spoken of with such a stupid expression on his face and punches the tiger. Long Wushang says that the Empress never explained anything to Xiao Hu because she knew she wouldn't believe her. The passive observer is also at fault. She says to wait for Xiao Hu to wake up and explain everything to her along with the tiger. Zhang decides to release Xiao Hu for now. Tiger says that he has already sent the girl's information to a buyer, and he is on his way. This buyer has a power that is much higher than all 6 clans, and the Jade Goddess clan will be threatened. Jang Lan says that not even Heavenly King Laozi would be able to take her away from them. Xiao Hu is unconscious and sheathed like a gift. The charge of the celestial body rises to 115%. Xiao Hu falls on Jang Lan and the latter asks for Long Wushang's help. Long Wushang is pleasantly surprised that he is not an ordinary student, but a true gentleman who would never take advantage of others' misfortune. Jang Lan grabs the tiger by the chest and asks how dare he do such a low thing to Xiao Hu. The tiger replies that it was the maid's, and he had never laid a finger on her. Jang Lan tells him not to deny his guilt, for this blow is meant for him alone. The tiger punches through the ceiling of the cave. His false teeth fall out of his mouth. He notices 2 approaching objects in the distance. Tiger realizes that Wang Bai's buyer is already here, and now they're all screwed. Jang Lan suggests to hurry up and get out of here and leave these mountains. Long Wushang gritted his teeth and carried Xiao Hu. Long Wushang senses something dangerous is coming. Jang Lan doesn't know what she's talking about. The 2 are approaching the cave faster and faster. The tiger rushed back to Jang Lan because he would be much safer with them than with the incoming customers. Jang Lan jumps on his back and asks him where he's going. He tells him to obediently wait with them until Xiao Hu wakes up to tell her everything. Jang Lan says that he will have to lay it out to her in as much detail as they do. Tiger asks him not to pull his hair so hard. Long Wushang says that they need to hurry up and get out of here. Jang Lan looks at her questioningly. Someone behind them asks them to hold on. Long Wushang is upset that they didn't have time to leave. A girl and an old man are standing in front of the heroes. The one says that this kitsune has already been bought by the young lord of their clan and asks them to give her to him. Jang Lan asks how much money the tiger took for selling the man. The tiger replies that he hasn't been paid yet, and the payment was to be made after receiving the goods. Jang Lan says that the old man is a little late. The seller hasn't received the money yet, so their deal is already invalid, and they will take the fox. The old man laughs at him. He says they chose their own outcome. He tells them to get ready and smirks. The newly arrived girl rushes to attack Long Wushang, but the latter has already noticed her approach. Long Wushang realizes that her energy has not yet recovered from the poison. Jang Lan grabs the girl by the hem and says that he will be her opponent. Jang Lan says that they are being unreasonable, and the whole situation has already been explained to them, and they continue to act as they please. The girl attacks him with her foot and tells him to let go of her clothes. Jang Lan dodges and says she has amazingly long legs. Long Wushang says they shouldn't get into a battle and better leave soon. The old man recognizes Long Wushang, and she is already turning to leave. Jang Lan smiles and says that the girl should leave the attempt to get the fox because he doesn't want to hit women. The girl attacks him with her foot. She slaps him between the legs and tells him the fucking hubby shouldn't look down on her. The old man twitches in phantom pain at the sight of that punch. Jang Lan says that her stunts are very predictable. The girl's leg is sandwiched between his legs. Jang Lan says that he has no weaknesses now. 20% of his energy was spent on his groin area defense. The girl blushes and asks why he has it so hard there. The girl approaches Jang Lan and demands proof that he doesn't have a metal plate there. Jang Lan backs away and asks what she's letting herself get away with. Long Wushang is indignant and asks what he is doing there. Xiaohu lies leaning against the trunk of a tree. Behind the tree, a tiger is hiding and smiling.